Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to 2024-2025 BowlMania Recap, where on tonight's show, you guessed it, it's BowlMania. And I know we're a little late. I'm looking at you. Yes, I know we're a little late to the party, but it's never too late to talk college football. Never.
Mary.
And we're gonna recap all the bowl games, give our thoughts, our opinions on all the bowl games, who we think has momentum going into 2025, what we thought was the best bowl game, what we thought were some of the not so good bowl games. You're gonna hear it all here tonight, and we're gonna talk about a lot of things that happened. A certain quarterback opting out mid-game, a certain coach yin yamming on Twitter/X, and then making a statement backing it up. We're going to also talk about what the heck happened with Alabama. Of course, we're going to talk about Louisville too. We're going to talk about it all here tonight on BowlMania Recap show. But
And as the title says, what happened, ACC? What happened?
yes, the ACC is definitely going to catch a lot of flack on both of our ends. Maybe more mine than Jackson's, but
Well, we thank you, Tennessee Green. We appreciate
yeah.
we appreciate you commenting in the chat, man. Jay Snow says, put the women and children to bed. It's time for 2024-2025 BowlMania recap.
Yes.
Well,
Women can watch.
The children, like everybody can stay up for a little bit, and then after the show,
Yeah. Me and Jackson, we're PG friendly.
It's Saturday night, so you might as well stay up late. It's not Sunday night, so you're good to go there.
And no, Saturday nights are not all right for fighting.
Ew.
Classic Elton John reference, but where are my manners?
John's a legend.
He is. I love me some Elton John. Like I could listen to some Elton John, but this is my co-host, my partner. Couldn't do it with anybody else but Jackson Johnson of the Jacksonian and the host of Alabama at the Voice of College Football. How are you, Jackson?
I'm doing pretty good, Austin. Just chilling out, and saw Auburn beating Tennessee tonight, and Alabama beat LSU. I'm already looking forward to the day after Valentine's Day because I want to see Alabama-Auburn be the number 1, number 2 matchup in all college basketball.
I mean, you've got a lot to be excited about, Jackson. Football may let you down, but basketball's alive and well. Louisville,
wait and see.
Louisville, we did play today. We kind of got a little break, but people did not come to hear us yickety yak about our basketball teams, Jackson. That's for another night and another channel. If you want to hear the basketball content, Jackson's got the perfect channel and show for you, but he'll tell you that later. You got to stay till the end to hear that. But let's get into bowl talking, Jackson. Let's get bowling. Yeah, that was a bad transition. Go for it.
Oh man, this game, good grief! It was pretty good, I guess. The IS4S Salute the Veterans Bowl. It was all right.
Yes, it was all right. I watched a quarter and a half of it.
Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, let's remember who got the first touchdown of the game. Oh, Buckley. It was oh, good grief. There's the man. Jalen Buckley.
Yes.
Pretty good.
And you have to pardon us if we're a little rusty on these. It's been a minute. So just be patient with us, please. Brother us softly, so to speak. We'll get it right. Don't worry. We're a little rusty. But congrats, South Alabama. I mean, it's a good win for them.
Yeah. Win for the state of Bama.
Well, I mean, somebody needs to win for the state of Alabama. But
Might as well.
Jackson, could South Alabama be a conference contender going into 2025? Build some momentum, or what you thinking?
I'm all wait and see mode about that. But a great one was pretty good one was the Frisco Bowl between Memphis and West Virginia. Although, to be fair,
Yes.
West Virginia just wanted to get through this game because they're ready to go back to the Rich Rod era.
Yeah. This was a fun game, Jackson. I watched about 90% of this game, and this was pretty fun. Jackson, Memphis was a very quietly 10-win. Well, ended up winning 11 games. They were very quiet. We didn't hear much about them. Jackson, could Memphis, Jackson, be that group of 5 dark horse next year to sneak in the playoffs?
Good question.
I mean, Memphis has got it working. I mean, 11 games, Jackson, they flew under the radar. How often do you hear an 11-win team fly under the radar like that?
Not very often.
Mm-hmm. And as for West Virginia, I mean, like you said, they kind of just wanted to get through this. They were kind of like, if we win, great. If we don't, But I will say this. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like West Virginia's had an up and down year all season. I mean, yeah, they came from behind to beat Kansas, but that win wasn't as impressive as it would have been in 2023. Unfortunately, I think I died.
Yeah,
saying that.
but
they in their other games. Yeah, there was one week where the Mountaineers were doing well. The next week, they were blowing it. Just blowing it. That team was just mediocre. They were mid.
Yeah. And, like you said, Jackson, they were kind of just ready to move on. And it showed. They put up a good fight, but it did show. They were kind of like, we're not going to put our full heart into this. But good win, though, Memphis. Like, Jackson, we'll have to see what 2025 brings for the Memphis Tigers. Could they be the next Boise State?
That's a good question.
Well, we'll know more in June and July for sure. But good win, Memphis. You know who else had a really... Oh, and we've got Troy V in the house. Troy V, always pleasant to see you. One of our favorites. You're all our favorites. But Troy V, he's like the royalty of guest. Like, he's like top shelf.
Let's go,
and he says, and Troy V says, how's that running back from West Virginia that transferred to Ohio State? What's his name, Jackson? I'm blanking right now.
Beats me.
Royalty like Burger King? Sure, Troy V, sure.
That's funny.
I'm blanking on his name. Because be honest with you, Troy.
CJ Donaldson. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Now, yes.
Wow.
He's really good, Jackson. He's really good. If West Virginia would have utilized him a little bit better, they would have been a little better. I like him.
Oh, yeah.
I like what I've seen from CJ Donaldson. He's good.
Oh yeah. I mean, he knows he's going to win at the Buckeyes than he would at West Virginia.
This is true, yes.
But the Boca Raton Bowl, I guess that was a little something between James Madison and Western Kentucky. Velton had a pretty good day, but unfortunately it was not good enough against James Madison.
Yeah. Western Kentucky, Jackson, after they got blown out in their conference championship game, I didn't know how much they would be up and ready to play this game. They gave James Madison a bit of a fight, but James Madison kind of flexed their muscles on WKU a little bit in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of teams flexing their muscles, Jackson, how about UNLV?
Oh yeah, Barry Odom
Jackson,
before he left, UNLV's just having a great day against Cal in the LA Bowl. And Haj Malik Williams had a huge game. The passing completion, the completion was not good. 5 of 18 completed passes, but 2 touchdowns, that's a win.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Jackson, UNLV, Jackson. I was really surprised that they played as good as they did in this game. So I was thinking this is Barry Odom's last game, and I was even thinking he's about ready to walk out the door and almost leave him at the altar, so to speak. But they came out and they played their butts off. They beat a mediocre Cal team. You happy, Jackson? They're mediocre, okay?
Oh,
So I
I'm
know
happy.
you said Cal. Well, Jackson, I know me and you had a tit for tat earlier on in the year about whether Cal was good, mediocre, bad, because we'll call them mediocre. We'll meet halfway. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just mediocre.
Just because
And
College Game Day went there doesn't mean they're automatically an impressive win.
okay, Jackson, we won't get into that at the moment. We'll save that for another day.
Yeah, we
But
got into like the debate of whether beating Cal was an impressive win when Miami beat them. I think that's what it was, right? Or was it like
yes, it was
Cal Florida State?
Miami. Yeah, it was Miami because I made the argument College Game Day don't go to no schools that they don't think that are somewhat decent, and then you're like, well, and your argument was it was because of Miami, not so much a Cal. Cal just happened to be there.
Yeah.
But UNLV though, Jackson, like you said, they've got momentum going into 2025. Dan Mullen, what do you think, Jackson? What do you think the future is going to look like at UNLV? He's
Oh
taken over a
man.
pretty good team.
Oh man, cousin Eddie's back in college football. That's so awesome. No, but in all
Cousin,
seriousness, though, Dan Mullen, it was a shame that he got fired after 2021 at Florida. Or matter of fact, during this season when he got fired, it was like, good grief. He was giving Florida 3 straight New Year's Six bowls. But I felt, yeah, Florida wasn't really satisfied with the way things were going. So what does he do? He goes on over to ESPN for 3 years. It's happy for a little bit. But that itch kept scratching, and UNLV was that place for him. I want to see if
mm-hmm.
he can continue the momentum, but I will say when you go to UNLV, it's basically the place for retread coaches. Like coaches that were fired or needing to redeem themselves. It's going to work out fine for Mullen. Nobody's going to gripe at him for not getting a Mount West Conference title, although they'll be delighted if he can deliver that for him. Because like we look back at where Barry Odom was at, he was fired by Missouri. They weren't
Yes.
happy with the way he was doing things. But then, boom, he's back in the coaching, doing all right at UNLV. Now he's at Purdue. And I can't help but feel like that UNLV is the Mount West equivalent of Memphis. Because like Memphis, probably to like 2014, they were a dung heap, a trash heap in all college football, a walking joke. And like the same thing with Tulane. Prior to Willie Fritz, they were a walking joke of college football. But now when you think of winning group of 5 programs, you're thinking of Memphis and Tulane. Could we see that same thing for UNLV where they continue the momentum, or do they go back to where they were before Barry Odom? That is going to be the question in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I think what helps Jackson is Dan Mullen is inheriting a really good team that Barry Odom left behind. He's not picking up like a dung heap. He's picking up a program that if they can win the Mountain West and get 10, 11 wins, they could steal the Group of 5 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So he's left them in a pretty good spot. Did Barry Odom. So Dan Mullen's got it going.
And if Mullen can do well at UNLV, that means one other thing. He'll be a big hit again in the coaching carousel.
Mm-hmm. And Jason O brings up a pretty good point, Jackson. UNLV would be a really cool place if they could find a way to build a small 35K seat dome on or near their campus. Yeah. Instead of being like Miami and taking Allegiant Stadium, if they invest their NIL money and their resources into building them a little stadium like you're suggesting, Jason O, I think they could do wonders. I feel like their fan base is there.
Well, and all you gotta do also is convince the parents of the appeal of Las Vegas. Not so much
Oh,
the
that's not gonna be
dads,
hard.
because the dads are loving Vegas, but you gotta convince the moms.
Yeah, the moms.
Yeah.
The dads will be like, "Let's go, honey."
Yeah, because when I talked with Leanne Herring on my Jack Stone episode in October from Ole Miss at the Voice College Football, recruiting at the Voice College Football, and the Rebel Walk, we talked about that on and off air. Is in order to get the recruits, you want to make sure you appeal to the mom. Then you're really good to go.
Yeah, the dads are like, "Let's go to Vegas."
Oh yeah, but it's they go you got to make it appeal to them. Then you're really good. Appeal to the mom. You're gonna win. Although like a lot of moms down south, they're not gonna be like, nah. They're simple.
Yeah, if you're a parent from down south, real quick, Jackson, more than likely you won't be going to UNLV or something like that, because a lot of times that's just too far off the beaten path. And if UNLV is offering, the mom's gonna be like, no.
Yeah, like the dad will be like, okay, I'm waiting for the right response. No, you're not going to Vegas. It's like, okay,
yeah,
nicely. Okay, go to Vegas, boy. There you go. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, you go to UNLV. Just don't do anything I wouldn't do. And then the mom later on will be like, "Why did you let our son go to Vegas? Georgia was offering." Be like, "You want him to experience life." But in all seriousness, though, that is a good point.
Oh yeah, but yeah, like UNLV football, they're gonna have what UNLV basketball had in the early '90s. I'm not saying it's gonna be national titles and all, but I'm saying with Mullen, he could get UNLV either into the playoffs or in multiple appearances in the Mount West title game.
Agreed.
But we got Sam's alma mater from Exploring with Ben and Sam. Sam Houston against George Southern. How about that? Oh, agreed, Troy V. If George is offering
I was joking, Troy. No, realistically, if someone offers Georgia UNLV, the kid's gonna go to Georgia. But I was just doing that to make funny, haha.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you can get away with passing out drunk from having drunk driving days in Georgia.
Oh, that was not good. Okay. Well,
yep. Hey, I mean, I'm like South Park. I throw cheap shots at everybody in college and NFL, even at my own team.
Oh well. We'll move past that. Let's talk about the Meerkats, Jackson. What a season for the Meerkats of Sam Houston. Jackson, after being one of the worst teams in all of FBS last year, to winning 8+ games and a bowl victory to top it all.
Yeah.
And think about this, Jackson. They lost their head coach and then they gained another like that.
Just like that.
Good win for Sam Houston. I'm happy for him.
Well, Phil Longo is going to be a happy man when he gets there, but I wonder what's going to become of Brad Cornelson, the interim coach. I hope he's doing all right, but I mean, Clay Helton seems to be doing just fine at Georgia Southern. I mean, nobody's going to gripe at him for Georgia Southern for having a bad day.
And now, Georgia Southern, if you get 6-7 wins and an occasional bowl win, you're a legend there.
Oh yeah, you're like beloved, and everybody's gonna storm the field.
Yeah, there's no trouble there, but good win for the Meerkats.
But Tulane, Florida, the old SEC matchup in the Gasparilla Bowl. Well, way before our time, way before our parents' time, that was an SEC matchup. I think that was like way before our grandparents' time.
And Jackson, the Gators are building momentum. That's going to be the theme of the night. Who's building momentum for 2025? Florida, DJ Lagway. They're starting to build something there. Billy Napier's finally starting to put it together.
DJ Lagway has saved his job.
And Jackson, Florida. And I'll say this, Jackson. Everybody remembers on After Dark, I said Florida will go 8-4. And I remember everyone in the chat and on the panel was like, that's crazy. If anyone could survive that schedule, Florida's not going to be it. And Florida finishes the season 8-5. Jackson, if you think about the history of the Florida Gators, do they not always do this to you? Because I warned you, I was like, when Florida has no expectations, they overachieve. When you put the expectations on them, they underachieve.
You know what I do know will happen in 2025 from Florida?
What's that?
They'll beat Tennessee again because Tennessee's coming to Gainesville.
Yeah. And Jackson, what happened to Tulane? They were having such a strong year. They won 10 games. And then Army in this game, they kind of just fell flat. What the heck?
Well,
is going on with your?
They were depressed from that Thanksgiving beatdown that they got from Memphis. That's what happened. Because
Oh my gosh,
translated
Tulane.
over to the AAC title game against Army, and it's like they didn't even care that they played for. It's like, the Tulane Green Wave is playing Florida. DJ Lane for score.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this, Jackson. Tulane going forward, what's their future look like? You think they'll be fine?
They'll be bouncing back.
And as far as Florida goes, this is a great way to end their 2024.
I just hope when they play Ole Miss, they upset Ole Miss, because I'm still mad at Ole Miss for canceling that USC home and home, which is another time for another day.
And I want to preference this, Leanne, Ruby, if you watch this, don't take it personal. But Jackson, loves good storylines like we all do. Don't take it personal, girls. Jackson still loves you.
Well, no worries. I'm not going at the Ole Miss fans. It is all good. The Ole Miss football team, the athletic director that made that decision, I'm mad at. That's who I'm mad at Ole Miss.
But good win for Florida.
Continue to be mad at him. Oh, we got a good morning from Poland from IT guy. Great show, guys. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Good morning. However early it is, hopefully you got you a cup of coffee and enjoying the show. If it's that early in the morning.
But the Florida Gators, I'm looking at their schedule so far for 2025. It's a little bit tough. like it's same way as last year. Although they start off the year with 2 easy games, which I mean, I'm not going to complain about because I mean they got Miami back again for another year, which you know what, I'm happy with that. But they got to go to Baton Rouge in week 3.
Ooh.
They got Texas coming to their backyard, which that's going to be the week before the Red River shootout between Texas and Oklahoma. They got to go to Kyle Field against Texas A&M. Can they finally end that losing streak against Georgia on November 1st? Then they got to go to, then like after they play Kentucky on the road, they got to go to Ole Miss. Then there's Tennessee coming to their backyard in Gainesville. And then they got Florida State coming over to Gainesville, which I wonder. Well, I'm not saying anything about Florida State. I'm not going to say a word about
them. Be good boy, Jack. Be good boy. Heel.
I will.
Heel, Jackson. Refrain. Well, Florida State
do better than 2 wins.
Yes. Like we'll leave Florida for next season.
See a little sigil on the little halo on my head.
Yes, Jackson. Make sure the halo is there. We don't need the After Dark Jack coming out ranting on Florida State. They don't deserve the recognition because they didn't make a bowl. Oh, they did. They made the toilet bowl.
Lord, I threw some F-bombs at Florida State in September, but I'm not doing that. They've suffered enough from me.
Yes.
But I'll tell you who deserves to be rewarded, who deserves to be celebrated. Although they lost, Jacksonville State going up against the Ohio Bobcats. I mean, this was a wild one in the Cure Bowl.
Yes, it was. This was a thrilling game. Ohio and Jacksonville State, Jackson. I watched about from like the second quarter on, like with 8 minutes to go. This was. I never got so excited watching a lower game like this, but this was fun to watch.
There you go.
I mean, good win for Ohio. Gutty win, but good win.
There you go.
And Jacksonville State Jacks, after their letdown, they won the conference title game. After stomping WKU, they had a letdown.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Although I will say, I wish Jacksonville State nothing but awesomeness because I think they're going to need it because they got Charles Kelly as their Nets head coach. But as for Ohio, this is a good win for them. Good win.
Yes. Good win. Y'all earned it. And a heck of a game, too.
Yep. And unfortunately for them, also, Tim Albin has left for Charlotte. So maybe it can be a college football equivalent of Charlotte's Web where they can get some wins in the American Athletic Conference. Seems like it.
We'll have to see. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to discuss in the offseason. I'm looking forward to it.
How about that double overtime matchup between Northern Illinois and Fresno State?
Yes, Jackson, Northern Illinois capped off a great year with a bowl win. I'm happy for them.
Oh yeah, this is huge.
Yeah, this is huge for their program, Jackson. They beat Notre Dame. They cap it off with the Idaho Potato Bowl. I mean, this is going to go down as one of their best seasons ever, I'm sure. I mean, I didn't even really.
I mean, this was a good season, but I don't think anything can top 2012 and 2013 for Northern Illinois. It won't most certainly top 2003.
I don't know, Jackson. Beating Notre Dame on the road, a top 5 team that played for the national title, and a major bowl win for their program, it might.
Well, still though, 2003. I don't know if you've ever looked back at it, but that Northern Illinois team had College Game Day come to town in 2003. I'm not kidding.
Oh yeah, That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And they went 10-2 that year. They beat Iowa State, but they beat Alabama and they beat Maryland. Although beating Alabama wasn't really anything to brag about if you're a BCS team, but if you were a non-BCS team such as Northern Illinois, that was a huge win for you. And as for
Yes.
beating Maryland, it worked out really well because Maryland finished 10-3 that year, second place in the ACC. That
Oh
worked out well
wow.
for Northern Illinois. Although, because I got to be honest though, Northern Illinois they have a pretty good football history, and unfortunately, they did let that Notre Dame win go to their head. Because it was like Thomas Hammock was going on all these shows. He was going on Pardon My Take with Barstool Sports, Dan Patrick, Rich Eisen, Jason Whitlock. I don't even know. I think he was on like McAfee at one point. Although he may have
I
been
believe so.
planning. I wonder if he may have been like thinking about going on like Club Random with Bill Maher to smoke a joint or something to hear about.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, just or go on like Joe Rogan or the Flagrant podcast. While he was thinking about that, the Buffalo Bulls upset him. But of course, Northern Illinois rebounded nicely, get back to bowl eligibility, and they got this nice win over Fresno State. I hope for Northern Illinois' sake, maybe they can have a really good season in 2025. I would like to see something magical happen for this program because I really like what Mr. Hammock has done for the Northern Illinois Huskies.
Yes.
But question
And for
is,
Fred. Mm-hmm.
like, is 2025 looking like the last season for the MAC era? Because I know that there's talk of them being a football only program in the Mountain West.
I mean, I definitely could see it. And Jason O says NIU didn't go to a bowl in 03.
No, they
Only
did.
two teams. Only two teams from the MAC got invited that year, and they didn't get it at large.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Jason.
Mistake. My mistake. 2025 is going to be the last year of the MAC for Northern Illinois. My fault.
So they won't be in any more MACtion on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Sad era.
Not after 2025.
But Jackson Fresno State kind of has taken a bit of a decline this year. And Mikey King transferred out. He's going to Michigan, which we'll get more in depth with that with our transfer portal update live coming up here later on next week. Spoiler alert for later. But Jackson, what's it looking like for Fresno in the future?
Well, they're going to have Matt Ant from USC as their new head coach, although he did have prior head coaching experience at North Dakota State. I can tell you right now, that's a pedigree for winning. You want to get a winner, you go get somebody from North Dakota State or somebody that's been associated with Coach Craig Bowl.
Because Jackson, the last couple of years, Fresno, they upset Purdue, and then they gave Michigan a pretty decent game earlier this year before Michigan flexed their muscles on defense. They've been kind of known as that spoiler. If you schedule Fresno, they're going to give you more than you can bite, so to speak. I just want to see what's coming for them in the future. If they'll be one of those programs everyone will be going out and scheduling because they think they're going to be weaker now.
Well, Fresno State has been a good enough football program in the group of five. They always give a dogfight to those that are in the Power 4, Power 5 level. They have always done that. They've done it with Pat Hill. They've been doing it with Tim DeRuyter. They did it with Jeff Tedford. They had some magic with Kayla DeBoer. They did it with Jeff Tedford yet again. I mean, 2024 has just been a bad season this year because of Jeff Tefford having some health problems. But I think they're going to be back. They're tanned. They're rested with Matt Entz. And especially once they head over to the renovated Pac-12 in 2026.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Jason O says Fresno State Stadium renovation plans look pretty cool. I hope they get that done. I'd take a look at that. I didn't know they were even innovating their stadium. Did you, Jackson?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll take a look at that. And Rough Rider returns says, "Hello, gentlemen. What's up, Rough Rider? You're just in time. We're getting to the meat of the potatoes, so to speak. We're starting to hit the big ones.
We're getting that chicken broth. Let's go, Rough Rider returns. How you doing tonight?
Whoop, whoop. We'll take it easy on your Sooners though when we get there. We'll take it easy.
They haven't done anything to me personally, so I'm not firing pot shots at them.
Now, I like Oklahoma. I got nothing against them. If anybody would have a problem with Oklahoma, it should be you, Jackson, because they did knock your team out of the playoffs, but that's another time for another day.
You know I will, Rough Rider. You know I will.
Have mercy on OU. Yes, we will. We'll have mercy. We'll treat them with respect.
There's a lot of teams that I don't have mercy on, but Oklahoma is one of those teams I have mercy on for sure.
Jackson, what about Jeff Traylor and UTSA? Will you have mercy on them?
I mean, they had a huge win in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, but is the stock going down? That's my question for Traylor, because, I mean, they had a 12-win season in 2021, 11-win season in 2022, and it declines to 9 wins, then the 7 wins. What's 2025 looking like for this team? The AAC may be looking pretty stacked.
Yeah, and what happened to Coastal Carolina, Jackson? They've kind of gone downhill. Grayson McCall, he transferred out, and they took a nosedive. Like they got the bowl eligibility, but my goodness, it was ugly getting there.
Yep.
And UTSA showed that. My goodness.
But I got one question to ask you. What were you doing
is it,
on
Jackson?
Christmas Eve?
Preparing Christmas dinner, getting dishes ready for that, and watching some football, of course.
Well,
and talking to family and loved ones.
A little bit of this Nets game, and apparently I was like, after I was getting dressed to go to midnight mass with my family, and I'm like, okay, well, this is bad timing, but at the same time, this is a good thing as well, because we got some exciting. It was like the only sporting event on Christmas Eve, and it's none other than the 2024 Hawaii Bowl. Like
yes,
that was a wild ride. I mean, it's like, oh man,
yeah.
Like, how Florida bringing that bowl magic? Who says bowl season sucks?
Jackson, this game right here, this was a fun game to watch. South Florida, San Jose State, they threw like haymakers at one another. And the receiver for San Jose State, Cole Nash, he's every bit as good as he's advertised to be.
Oh yeah. And I gotta be honest, I'm looking at the total yards. San Jose State have 441 total yards, but South Florida had 291 total yards. So this was a pretty good win, despite the stats going against USF in their favor.
Yes. This Jackson, even though it was on Christmas Eve, and maybe not a lot of people watched it because they're not brain games, if anybody hadn't watched this, go back and watch the highlights. It's something definitely to behold. How these two teams are going up and down the field and one another, back and forth, back and forth. This was a really good game. Congrats, South Florida. You earned that
Oh,
one.
this was huge. Like I thought for a moment the game was gonna go so long that I was just gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to pull up my phone in church, aren't I? Yep, I'm gonna have to. It's like, oh no, I'm not. It's like, oh, are you praying? Are you praying to? Oh, I'm praying to God, of course. Like,
Oh, mom, look over at you and be like, Jackson, we're in church. Put that thing away. Be like,
it's like,
Mom, this is
it's
part
like,
of my job. How I get paid.
nah, it's all good. But it's like, but luckily, like, this was a good one. Like, it was such a good game to the point where you would like, you can probably like sneak over, look at your phone or look at your tablets for this one. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
no one's looking. It's like, I know,
Mm-hmm.
I know that was a good one to me because it was like I'm
Mm-hmm.
keeping an eye on the game, I'm all set for church, and it's like, oh, I didn't think this. I didn't think we'd have this, but we did. Which here's a lesson to learn: just because an event looks just because there's like one game on and it looks boring, doesn't mean it will be. And what's something I always say when there's a sloppy week ahead of us, Austin?
Your famous line is sloppy slate means upsets are coming.
And in this case, sloppy slates mean big moments are coming. We just don't
Mm-hmm.
know what big moments exactly.
And
5
Jason O
games.
and Jason O says you see it. Yeah, South Florida should be in the Big 12. What do you think about that, Jackson? You think they could make it in the Big 12? You like his idea?
That's something I'm gonna have to really think about because, like, South Florida hasn't really won all that much in the AAC. I don't think they've won a conference title in their school's history. But on the other hand, it could bring back the Central Florida South Florida rivalry. So that's something to
You
think
could.
about. I mean, Central Florida does not have a rival in the Big 12. I mean, that's something we need to remember.
Yeah. And Rough Rider Return says the Big seems to have won the first year rivalry versus the SEC. I believe in part the SEC was down a little this year. Yeah, as we go on through some of these games, Rough Rider, you'll see the SEC's kind of taking a bit of a step back. Not as bad as the ACC did. Oh, heavens to mercy. But I would agree with that. The Big Ten, I think, won the duel this year.
Yeah, that's fair to say. Like, you can definitely say that when Illinois beat South Carolina. Like, that's a huge win for the Big Ten. Because I mean, it is. It pretty much is. And when
Mm-hmm.
you got two of your conference teams in the semifinals of the playoffs, that's a humongous win.
Mm-hmm. And Troy V says Sloppy Slate was the younger brother of Fred Flintstone's boss, MR Slate.
Mr.
That's a little
Slate.
history,
Yep, Mr.
Mr. Slate.
Slate. Yeah, he's like Flintstone.
And Hummus is
I love
here.
the Flintstones, man. It's like
Oh my
that's
gosh.
hey, maybe one of these days, like we can probably do a reenaction of the Bedrock Twitch.
Oh gosh. Don't even. Anywho, Jackson, Hummus is in the building. Whoa, whoa. The party's
Yeah,
really begun now.
let's
Because when
go,
Hummus gets in the
Hummus. Good buddy
when
comes
Hummus
back.
gets when Hummus gets in the building, the party can officially start. We can get rocking.
It's the
Because Hummus,
YMCA in here.
yes, we're not going to play YMCA because we are not trying to get kicked off YouTube for copyright. We don't have that kind of money. But Jackson, what we do have
Well, we're
is
not
more
that
bowl
big
games.
either. Like YouTube's not going not they're not going they're gonna be like, we're gonna let you off with a warning.
Let you off with a warning. Be like that mall cop.
Yep.
Be like, we'll let you off with the warning. We'll let you steal the panda bear, but we'll let you off with the warning. But
Mr. Spacely, I'd say, but because I mean, he's got like a small man's complex.
oh gosh, I, I don't know how people. I don't know how people. He didn't quit, but props to him. My gosh.
Like,
But
man, we always say we're going to the era of the Jetsons, but we're not there yet. But Christmas Day, the football games on Netflix, I've heard some say were sloppy.
yeah,
Am I correct?
yeah, they weren't the most entertaining this year.
What about the NBA Christmas Day experience? How would you what would you
They were all right, Jackson. But obviously, you're going to have those blowouts, but you also have those games like Lakers Warriors delivered once again. LeBron and Curry, never a doubt on that game delivering. The Nuggets lost, so I wasn't too thrilled, but the the Knicks and Spurs, Wemby and the Knicks, that was a good game.
there you go.
So overall, good.
There we go. Oh well, Lakers Warriors close, and the Grinch was hanging out at the 76ers Celtics. He's chilling. I just wondered where his little dog Mats was. But
Mm.
what was the day after Christmas like? Because maybe it's just me, but they thought to themselves, how do we top Christmas Eve? We're going to have the game above Sports Bowl. What kind of name is that? That game is crappy, right? Well, as the saying goes, never judge a book by its cover, because we had a wild one between the Pittsburgh Panthers and the Toledo Rocket.
Oh
As
my gosh.
Pittsburgh stormed like Toledo was storming the field not once but twice. Now I believe it was 3 times. They were storming the field like it's like hold your horses, Toledo.
Oh my gosh, Jackson. This was oh what a finish this was.
Fantastic finish. Fantastic.
Jack Jackson, just when you thought Pittsburgh thought they had it won, then Toledo's like, no, no, no. And like you said, they stormed the field before the game was, oh my gosh. This had every theatrical thing you could want in it. And Jackson, what happened to Pittsburgh coming down the stretch? They were 7-1.
I know.
What the heck? They were in line for the ACC title game. What
They
the
blew
heck?
it. They blew it. I mean, losing to SMU, that's one thing. They lose to Virginia. And I think that Clemson loss made them so depressed. They're just like, we don't care. We don't care. They're just kind of like, he's not coming. Put them back, Holly. That's what Pittsburgh's doing. They're just like, put them back, Holly. And Toledo's like, we're going to end this disappointing season with a bang.
Yeah.
There's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Mm-hmm. This, Jackson, for as much as we thought bowl season would be hurt by the new 12-team playoff, we still have had some classics that we'll remember. My gosh, what a game. And speaking of class.
Well, people that say like bowl games don't matter. I mean, it's like they're kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater on that. I mean,
well, there goes the baby.
I know, but it's just like it's basically a chance for the backups and the third stringers to thrive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like to think of it.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, Jackson. Not to cut you off. I like to think as bowl games as NFL preseason, where you get to see what your young guys are made of. Like you get to kind of see what you got coming for the future. So I still think there is some meaning to these bowl games, and they're not a complete waste. Would we love to see the stars play? Absolutely. But in a way, it's a good thing that we're getting to see our backups and our role players play.
Which is why you had which is what you have backups and third stringers for. You get them all prepared. You get them going, make them feel like, hey, well, you're gonna have a moment in this too. No worries. The starter's looking like he's gonna sit out for the NFL drafts. It's like, you know what? Come on in. And Hummus says
This is your moment.
2024 collapse was one for the ages. Sorry, Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh's like, they robbed me of that Pittsburgh Penn State playoff game.
Because they were 7-1.
Yep. Oh man, it's like I'm literally just like, no, I want my Pittsburgh Penn State rivalry back. I want it to come back. Come back, Pittsburgh Penn State.
Jackson and Pittsburgh's like, no, you can't have it.
And I know it's January, but is it too early to have an item on your Christmas list for 2025? Because I've got one request for Christmas of 2025, or a little bit before Christmas 2025. Pittsburgh Penn State to come back in the playoffs.
Jackson, good luck with that request. Like, Penn State will probably be there every year, but Pittsburgh, unfortunately, good buddy, Pittsburgh Penn State is buried 6 feet under.
I'm never gonna quit requesting for Penn State. I mean, I'm just not. It's like, but Toledo, what's going on with Jason Candle? That's the question there, because he was rumored to go leave to be an offensive coordinator elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's not been recommended as a Nets head coach anywhere. It's not that he's bad or anything, but it's like no one's really watched him enough.
I think the only job, Jackson, I've heard him considered for was the Indiana job. Other than that, all these openings positions, he's not popped up on anybody's board or watch list.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest that like that guy should be the Nets head coach anywhere. I mean, if that were me, I would hire him, or better yet, I would have him that may be the Nets move for him to go to, honestly. It's just go be an offensive coordinator someplace huge. Like, do what Matt Entz did. Go be an assistant coach at USC football, and then somebody bigger will make you their Nets head coach.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this, though, Jackson. Pat Narduzzi, Jackson, after this collapse, what's his 2025 looking like? Is it approaching his last year? Is Pitt almost fed up with him? What's the deal?
I was wondering when we were going to get around to that, but he's not going to be on a humongous hot seat, but he's not overly safe either, especially with that 6-game losing streak. That has to hurt.
Do you think they might give him the old Mac Brown treatment? Say, oh, you're safe, and then they'll be like, okay, we've seen enough. Get.
I'm going to be mad if they do. I'm going to be mad.
I mean, if this keeps up, if they start 7-1 again next year and they finish out the season losing 6 in a row, Jackson, oh boy, it might get ugly in Pitt.
Oh man, like I'm gonna be so mad if they tell him he's safe and then they fire him. Like if they say he's on a hot seat or he has this season, I can respect that. I want it to be kind of like where Jimbo was at his last year's at A&M, where it's like, you gotta have a good season.
Mm-hmm. I hope they do right by him because for what he has done for Pitt's program. But in the world now, Jackson, if another coach is out there on the market and they're willing to offer the money, it can happen like that with a snap of the finger. We saw it with North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Lane Kiffin got thrown out on a tarmac, for Christ's sakes.
Well, and I think also I feel like the memories of winning the 2021 ACC title that is going to be somewhat forgotten now. And it
Yeah.
shouldn't be, but at the same time, you don't want to get overly reliant on, well, we won the 2021 ACC title. Well, what have you done since then? That's going to be the rebuttal.
hmm And Hummus makes a good point, Jackson. Pitt doesn't have a very high expectation, but if it gets real bad next year, they could move on. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Pitt's always, to me, Jackson, and to the chat, Pitt's always a team. Your expectations win 7, 8 games. Go 8-4, 7-5 at least. Make an occasional ACC title appearance, and they're
I
like, okay, we're good with you.
I think honestly, leaving Independence in after 1990 was the worst thing to happen to Pittsburgh because they were winning a lot in the 70s, 80s. They were a winning football program, back then. I mean, they were, like how Minnesota was winning national titles in the 30s and 40s. Like they were known as a blue blood in a way at that time. But everybody's kind of just forgotten about it because Minnesota's been so mediocre. I mean, you could say the same thing for Pittsburgh because, I mean, they got 9 national titles in all college football, although 3 of them were from the 1910s, 1 of them was from the 20s, and 4 of them are from the 1930s. Yeah, their last title was 1976. They haven't won a national title since. I mean, Pitt's star has definitely worn off. They are not the Pittsburgh Panthers of the Dan Marino era. They are not the Pittsburgh Panthers of the Jackie Sherrill era. This is not the Johnny Majors era. This is the mediocre Pittsburgh Panthers. And honestly, what is their expectations? Do they expect to compete for an ACC title game, or are they just going to be happy with what they have for a 7-win season? That's going to be the question in Pittsburgh.
I agree, Jackson. It's all about what the fan base think it's going to be. And to be honest with you, Jackson, here's my thing. If Pitt wins 19 games next year, they won't fuss, obviously. But if they win 7, we may hear a little rumbling, especially if it's a rough 7 wins.
Yeah, you can't go 7-0 and then collapse at 0-5 again. And you can't lose to West Virginia in week 3 of the 2025 season.
Yeah, I'm almost going to say, real quick, Jackson, before we move on to our next bowl game, that West Virginia game, Jackson, might be for Pat Narduzzi's job.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like how it was for Neil Brown's job in a way, because West Virginia blew it. They blew it against the Panthers. Now, like you said, role reversal for Pitt. And Rough Rider returns says Minnesota won 3 natties back then in the 40s. Yeah, 1930s. Yeah, that was when that was a huge era. And Bud Wilkinson was part of that era, as Rough Rider says. Yeah, 1930s were an insane era. And they were doing very well in the 40s as well. Like, I mean, Benny Berman was a great head coach back then.
But you want to know something, though, Jackson? You want to talk about great. Well, no. Great, but another game in bowl season that is getting slept on, and that is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. The Kansas State Wildcats and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights playing in an absolute shootout.
Well, it was actually a good one because we got a guaranteed rate, top-notch game right there.
Yes, and Jackson, Rutgers was up by double digits in this game, but Kansas State, Avery Johnson, Jackson, he showed me a lot this game. I kind of was losing faith in him after the rough end to his season, but he put it together in this game, Jackson. I like what he's doing.
Yeah.
Could Kansas State win the Big 12 next year?
That's going to be a question, and we'll see in week 0 between Kansas State, Iowa State, and Ireland. That's going to be a fun one.
And I got to say this, Jackson. What is going on with Rutgers, Jackson?
Well, they're Rutgers. That's what they are. But in all seriousness, though,
They're Rutgers. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Rutgers has been they started out 4-0. A lot of us got hyped, especially when they were unbeaten. But then they lose 4 straight games. I mean, they lose to Nebraska. I mean, that's going to happen. They get smacked off the face of the earth by Wisconsin. That was going to happen. They lose a tight one to UCLA. That was ugly. They get smacked off the face of the earth by USC. And they lose a close one to Illinois on the Peacock app. So, I mean, while some people are sitting there watching, Ted smoking pot on the Peacock app, they missed a collapse for the ages for Rutgers when they went up against Illinois. Like, Illinois got lucky against them.
Well, and Troy V points out Rutgers was pulling away in this game, and then they looked like they took their foot off the gas in that game. Yes.
No, don't do that. Do not do that. You don't do that.
And to Jason O's point, Jackson, right here, he makes a fantastic point. Kansas State's got some speed on offense. And here's the thing too, Jackson. Rutgers put up 41 points. 41, and they still lost. Their best point total all year long, and they still lost. Like Jack said, they have got to get their defense together. They have got Greg Schiano, Jackson, has got to get this thing working on defense. Because if your offense is putting up 41 and you still lose, that's a problem.
Any more collapse like that again, we should just put all their home and road games on Nick Jr.
Oh, Lord, don't do that to them, Jackson. They don't deserve that.
Yeah, you're right. 4-year-olds shouldn't have to see crappy teams like that. You're right. We should just put them on Paramount Plus after Camp Coral from SpongeBob.
And Jason O says Rucker was overhyped in the preseason. They took a lot of injuries over the course of the year. They did not have the depth to overcome too many injuries. Yes. I will say that in Rutgers' defense, the injuries did kind of bite them in the butt, so to speak. But still, at times, like you said, Jason, their depth. That's another thing. If you don't got depth in this era of college football, you're really, really going to be sorry, because the teams that do have depth will outrun and gun you faster than you can realize. And Kansas State showed that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, this is not the Rutgers of 2006. This is not. But, I mean, Greg Schiano's doing all right at Rutgers, but what's the expectation at Rutgers? Like, are they just going to be happy with a bowl game, or can they have a 9-win season? Because I'm looking at their 2025 schedule.
Oh, it's not any easier.
The non-conference schedule is patsy, but you know what? You're Rutgers. You get a pass from me. You're not a blue blood. You're the birthplace of college football, but you're not a blue blood. But on the contrary, that schedule is scary. You got to go to the Buckeye. You got to go to the Buckeyes the week before rivalry week.
Now that could be a trap game because, as we know, Jackson, the infamous the game is the week before, so Rutgers could give them a game. I doubt it, but
Penn State on rivalry week. Penn State's gonna chew them up like a chicken nugget.
Oh, Jesus.
Especially those Lions. I mean, Rutgers will need to pray to Jesus. They're going to need to say a lot of prayers.
Oh, my gosh. And Jackson and Rutgers has got to play Oregon, too. Good luck.
Oh yeah. Oregon's going. Oh my, that's gonna be terrible. This is terrible for Rutgers. Like they're gonna have to hope. Like unless Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon have like a bunch of
Calling
players
sick.
that are drinking and driving, passing out drunk, and doing stupid stuff off the field. I don't see how Rutgers can beat any of these teams. It's not happening.
Jackson, Rutgers' expectations should just be 6-6, maybe 7-5. Maybe they could steal one they shouldn't.
Like
Maybe,
Iowa on week 4 because I mean it's in Piscataway. It's in Jersey.
yeah, like Jackson. If Rutgers is almost going to have to start the season 5-0 just to have any hope to
Rutgers
make a
looks like
bowl
a
game.
trap game for Iowa because I mean it could be, but I mean they'll probably put that game on the Peacock app or Big Ten Network. Hey, maybe they can put it on Tubi TV. But chat, which streaming service should air Rutgers, Iowa, or any Rutgers home game? Would you like to see
Oh
Paramount
Lord.
Plus? Would you like to see Paramount Plus? Would you? I would say Nick Jr., but that's not a good option. But would you like to see Nickelodeon air a Rutgers game where it's just like SpongeBob and Patrick calling it?
Why are we designating Rutgers to this, Jackson? What did they ever do to you?
They blew it. They're blowing double-digit leads. That's what makes me mad. I don't like it. I mean, I
They
love
don't.
it for the game, but it's just like I'm just that's just my thing. It's just I rag on teams that blow leads. That's just my
Here's
thing.
what. Here's the thing, Jackson. Put them on ESPN Plus. There, problem solved.
Put them on Disney Plus where you have like Phineas and Ferb calling them. Hey, I mean the show's being brought back, so what better way to promote it than like
And Jason says Rutgers Iowas will lead into Alabama Vanderbilt on Oxygen Network. Oh my gosh. No, Alabama Vanderbilt, that's going to be ESPN at like noon because Vandy's going to have hype.
and to punish Rutgers for blowing a lead, we're gonna have the View calling Rutgers Norfolk State.
Oh my gosh. No, Jackson. No. No.
You are
Oh,
banished. Your cupcake games are banished to this show. That show. They will live react.
Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg calling a college football game. Oh Lord.
Well, it wasn't defense, but that's another time for another day. What was a good one on December 26th? What could because I mean surely 68
Oh, real quick.
How'd you feel about this one?
Real quick, Jackson. Hummus says Lifetime Movie Network because everyone will be wanting to cry by the end. Oh, ain't that the truth? Well, especially if you're a Rutgers Iowa fan, you're going to be like, why do we watch this team? Because it's going to be 6-3 Rutgers with 30 seconds to go. It'll be Iowa with the football. It'll be 6-3 Rutgers, and they'll miss the game-winning field goal by getting blocked and then fumbled by Rutgers, and then Iowa will return it for a touchdown. And then they'll brag about it like it's the second coming of touchdown Jesus.
Oh.
They'll be like, we beat Rutgers. We beat Rutgers. We beat Rutgers. Be like, yes, we know you beat Rutgers, Iowa. Good job. And the 6 points were all off 3 safeties. Oh Lord, Troy. Oh gosh, I'm really not one to watch. Thanks, Jackson. Rutgers, Iowa. I'm gonna turn it away now. Be like, ABC will be like, big noon. It'll be a big noon kickoff too, Jackson. They'll make sure that we have
don't
to
punish Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt with that incompetency. Like, don't do that.
At least just Gus Johnson might get a kick out of it, though. He'll be like, another safety. Oh my gosh, why are there
Oh,
safeties?
yeah, yeah, like Johnson, he'll be go another run in the middle. Oh, first down.
Rutgers wins it in a 6-3 slugfest, and Rutgers is 4-0. Is this the year they could win the Big Ten? No. Gus, no. Just no, Gus. Just no. Time
But
to
you
go to
know,
bed.
we had a magnificent day on December 26th. Was the
Why's that,
Sixth Great
Jackson?
Adventure Bowl the icing on the cake for that very day? The
Yeah,
final
that was a
score
good
looked
game.
like it was close, but the tail end of that game wasn't.
Arkansas State kind of flexed their muscles.
Yeah, I mean, congrats, Butch
I mean,
Jones.
congratulations. You want a cookie? Now shoot. Shoot.
There you
We
go.
got better things to talk about. Shoot.
Butch Jones, you suck.
I didn't say that, Butch Jones, but my partner did. Feel free to come on for an interview for me if you want, but I don't know if you'll want to interview Jackson after he said that.
Well, I mean, he's not gonna give him a Sunbelt title. Just a fair warning, Arkansas State.
Jackson, they got to have hope.
Well, wish on one hand and crap in the other, see which one comes first. But what happened with Oklahoma? I'm impressed with Navy. Don't get me wrong, but what happened with Oklahoma? I hope they're okay.
Okay, so here's the thing, Jackson. Oklahoma played a good game, a really good game. They played with a lot of heart, but Brent Venables, they went for two at the end, Jackson, and they didn't get it. And it was incompetent play calling. Jackson, are you in favor of going for two or not in those type of situations? And chat, you can get in on this too, because I try to understand this. You had played Navy so well. Why not play for the tie and give yourself a chance? I understand sometimes if you feel like you're not stopping a team and you need to go for two like Utah against USC. But what the heck was that, Oklahoma? You were playing so well. And then you go for two at the wrong time? Like, that upsets me.
Yeah. That was a
Because
failure.
your incompetency. Sorry, Jackson, but your incompetency is going to cost a good head coach his job. Brent Venables is a good head coach, and he's a great defensive coordinator. And because of your all's incompetence, it might cost him his job.
Well, honestly, I can't really fault Brent Venables for going the 2-point conversion a little too much, because like you want to go for the win, right? I mean, think about this. You're going to be given a lot of crap when it doesn't work out, but when it does work out, you're the hero. You're the amazing play caller. That's usually how these things work out. But you're right, Austin. I think they should have gone for the extra point to take it to overtime. I think honestly they didn't want to go to 5 overtimes. They saw the other 2 bowl games like Pitt, Toledo, and Rutgers, Kansas State. They're like, nope, not us. We don't have all day.
Then Jackson, what do we have a defense for? What do we have a defense for then? Because that's your defense's job. Like in the NFL, you're paying all these guys millions and millions of dollars, but you want to change all these overtime rules. I could go on a whole rant, but I understand it. But Brent Venables, you are a defensive mastermind. You should be able to draw up a couple defensive schemes that could stop Navy, and y'all could, or do enough in overtime you could win. And Jason O says analytics is usually the reason given coaches do dumb things. Yes. Analytics, Jackson, are single-handedly the best and the worst thing that has happened to football in our lifetime. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, Jackson. Sometimes coaches don't think quite right. Like, I just wish some coaches would sit down with Coach Saban and pick his brain. Because Jackson, he never used analytics, did he? Even in his last
No.
year?
No.
He just went off what he knew. Like, I just. And yes, Jason, I understand the old saying, stopping Navy is easier said than done. I understand. Like, that's just me kind of going off on my little rant here. Sometimes stopping a team is harder than it looks, especially a team like Navy. And Jason
To
also
be
says that
fair,
was.
Austin's let me have my little venting session, so I'm letting him have his venting session. Carry on,
And
Dippo.
Jason, and I'll say this, and he said that was the right decision. It would have been a better call if it had worked. And he said, "Keep going. I love your rants." I don't want to rant too much because Oklahoma's not my team. It's just I'm just trying to get in these coaches' heads, and I know it's a scary place to get, but I'm just trying to figure out.
I think
I'll be.
honestly, Oklahoma, and I know that this was a very terrible season. I think with the right staff members, Brent Venables can win some big games in Norman. And I know there's like people say, well, they shouldn't have gone to ACC. They should have like whatever. I say whatever. Talk to the hand. That's what I say to those people.
Talk to the hand, Felicia.
Exactly. Like, but this felt like the third season of the Brent Venables era feels similar to the 2010 Clemson season, where Clemson had a mediocre season, lost their bowl game in the mighty Car Care Bowl against South Florida. Train wreck for them, right? Well, 2011 is going to be a train wreck for Clemson, right? Well, there's this guy named Chad Morris who became the new offensive coordinator. Dabo made the right staff adjustments here and there. And then what do we have? Clemson surprising everybody in 2011 and winning the ACC. I'm not saying anything like that's going to happen with Oklahoma, but it seems to me they just have to make the right staff moves. And they're doing a pretty good job on the staff on offense because they got Ben Arbuckle to be the new offensive coordinator. They got John Mater from Washington State to come on over. The defense is going to be a huge question because.
Well, Brent Venables should have that because Jackson, like it's well known that he takes care of most of the defense, and SEC football makes a really good point here. In my personal opinion, I think Brent Venables is too much of off of a defensive mind to have an elite team because the offense will always lack, and that's kind of the thing with Iowa with Kirk Ferentz. Great example. He's not much of an offense mind, but Kirk Ferentz can get your defense to be great, you know. And Jackson, do you kind of think Brent Venables is falling in the Kirk Ferentz category, where his defense is going to be elite to great, but his offense is going to be kind of meh?
Well, I mean, Ben Arbuckle did very well at Washington State as the OC, and he did all right at Western Kentucky. I think if Brent Venables could let Arbuckle do his job, he'll be more than good to go.
Yeah,
Hummus says he feels like Oklahoma, if they're not careful, what happened to Nebraska in the Big Ten could happen to them in the SEC.
Oh,
I'm thinking more like
I didn't think about that.
in the ACC, but I think Nebraska is doing better with Matt Rule. But I think Oklahoma, if they can have a good season 2025, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't. I don't. We'll wait and see with Oklahoma. Let's give them 5 to 10 years.
I'll say this, Jackson. Oklahoma's got way too much talent to be a 6-6 team every year. They've got way too much talent. Oklahoma should be 9-10 wins, competing for the SEC and competing for playoff spots. They've got way too much talent. So if this keeps up, unfortunately, Brent Venables might get himself in some trouble. Because Jackson, I like Brent Venables, even though he made life heck for us in the ACC. He's a great defensive mind. I'll say that all day. I would love to have him on staff at Louisville. Like, don't get me wrong, I
Mhm.
like our defense coordinator, but if Brent Venables comes knocking, I'm not going to say no. I think anybody would love to have Venables on their staff for his defensive mind.
I think he is. He is. He's just saying, I'm staying out of it. I'm letting Ben Arbuckle run the offense. But I feel like Oklahoma would have had a disappointing season whether they were in the Big 12 or the SEC. I don't think it would have mattered what conference they're in. I feel like 2024 would have been the same thing except with a different record. Um, there would have been
Jackson,
a
this
lobbying
doesn't.
session off air.
Jackson, this is a point that not a lot of people bring up. But if he doesn't beat your Crimson Tide, that might be the game that saved his tail, at least for next year, where they give him the old vote of confidence.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a good point, SC football. Not a lot of
Oh,
people brought that up.
yeah.
What do you think, Jackson?
If Oklahoma had lost to Alabama, they most definitely would have had to beat LSU on rivalry week. And if they were 5-7, there would have been a huge, ugly lobbying session for whether Brent Venables should get another year in 2025 or why Brent Venables should get fired. That would have been the conversation behind the scenes. Do we get rid of
Mm-hmm.
Brent Venables? Do we keep him another
It's
year?
Chip Kelly all over again.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, not that bad because I mean, like that Chip Kelly situation at UCLA, that was a disaster. Oh, we're gonna keep him. Nope, we're gonna get rid of him. Nope, we're keeping him. Nope, I'm just gonna leave in February.
And B Bean says, "Speak for yourself, Austin." LL. Hey, listen, B Bean. Listen, whether you like Brent Venables or not, you cannot deny he's a great defensive coach. Now, unless you're a rival, I understand. But come on, B Bean. Even you have to know Brent Venables would be masterful for any defense, any team they're taking. And what do you think about this right here, Jackson? He's got to win 9 games next year.
Oh yeah,
I, if he goes 8-4, is he safe?
that's gonna be a debate. If he goes 9-3, he's good to go. He's
And
good to
B
go.
Bean
I mean,
says
I'm looking at the schedule. It looks pretty easy. I mean, their
they got to
toughest.
play Bama again.
Yeah,
Not
but
to cut you off.
they got to play Alabama on the road, and Texas,
Uh,
Oklahoma. That's neutral site as always at the OG Cotton Bowl. Um, a lot of their toughest games are at home. Michigan,
mhm.
LSU, Ole Miss. I think they can spring a few of them. If Oklahoma can beat Michigan, I'm not saying they will. That's not going to happen. But if they do, we could see some momentum.
Mhm. I'll say this, Jackson, for Oklahoma, real fast. Uh, I'll say this: if they can split the games down the middle, go 2-2, either be between Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Michigan. If they can go 2-2, or go 3-2 if they beat LSU, I think they'll be all right. But if they go 2-3, it could get ugly. Or 1-4, because that 5 game stretch you kind of just listed out there, Jackson. If they can go 3-2, they'll be set up for success.
Oh yeah, if they're like unbeaten or they're 4-1 going into the Texas game, if they can win the Red River rivalry, they can win that one. They're good to go. They are more than
Mm-hmm.
good to go. That can be if they're 5-1 going into South Carolina. I think things will be good to go. Hummus says he thinks Oklahoma could be 7. Oh, he's done. He's done. If they go 7-5, he's done. He's a dead
Well,
man
here's the thing,
walking.
Jackson.
Dead man walking in
Here's
the
the thing.
SEC. In the SEC, and if you're at Oklahoma, you're a dead man walking. If you're 7-5,
The only thing that not to cut you off, but if they beat Texas as one of their 7 wins, and maybe spring an upset on either Tennessee or something, maybe he can have another lobbying session. Be like, oh, we beat Texas this year, and we sprung an upset on, say, Bama or Tennessee on the road. Do you think maybe then they would be like, give him one more chance?
I think 8-4 would be enough to go, you know what? You're returning, and after a lobbying session, 9-3, 10-2, like 9-3 is good, like really good.
Mm-hmm.
10-2, you're definitely returning. I think honestly, we could see Brent Venables and Oklahoma have a good enough season in 2025, given the right amount of staff, given the right amount of players. They could have a good enough season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like Florida, for example, they
I called it.
they were terrible with Merck at QB, but then DJ Lagway comes in. Magic is happening in Gainesville. I mean,
What if they lose to Temple? Oh, good God, SEC football. If
well,
they lose to
that would be
Temple,
that would be because like Bill Cosby's dressing up as a lady, as a really old lady, putting in a little something in the Gatorade bath that drugs the Oklahoma team. Nah,
if all
but in all seriousness, though, if they lose the Temple, it would be because of what Casey Keeler's doing at Temple, and I don't think that would happen. But if they did, they'd be in humongous trouble.
yeah, if they lose to Temple to put a bow on it, Brent Venables might as well just pack his bags and just go back to the house and not show up for work Monday, because he's gonna be fired.
Yeah, you're right. He's too old to be doing that. He'll probably put a little pudding pop for. He'll put in a little pudding pop, play the little Cosby Show theme song when he's doing his little
Jackson
weird stuff.
Jackson has some imagination. LOL. I know, right? You ought to hear some of the things Jackson says off air. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Right. You never know with me.
But Jackson, you want to know who? I don't even know how to segue out of this one. What's our next bowl game, good buddy? Help me out.
This is sad. Louisiana Tech Army. I mean, the
Oh yeah, this is
circumstances leading up to that game. Oh my God.
Congrats, Army. You got your get back after having that letdown against Navy.
You beat a depleted Louisiana Tech team that was there because Marshall didn't have enough of their guys.
Yeah, let's not talk about them. I'm depressed.
Yeah, I mean, Army had Louisiana Tech go, ooh, but Vanderbilt had a great day against Georgia Tech.
Yes, Jackson.
From the Voice College Football was saying like Vanderbilt would be like a top 25 team, a top 20 team. Like I heard that correctly. I mean, like I know Vanderbilt had a good season, especially when they beat Virginia Tech. They lost to Georgia State. They took Missouri double overtime. They beat the Alabama Crimson Tide, of course. They kept it close with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them beating Georgia Tech. And now we're going to see Diego Pavia come back for 2025, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Diego's coming back, which extremely helps Vanderbilt because Jackson, he's kind of the heart and soul of that team. He goes as they go.
Yep.
And Jackson, I won't make any excuses for Georgia Tech. Like no dog in this fight, but I feel like they blew their entire energy and all that on Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
They really did. Because they came out flat to start this game. Oh my gosh, Jackson. Whew.
Oh, yeah. Don't
Miller
even get me
Moss.
started. Don't get me started on Georgia Tech, Georgia, because I think people have heard too much from me about that. But
Yes. Miller Moss, who transferred from USC, he'll be our starting quarterback. So I'm looking forward to that. But we'll get to our quarterback that played in our bowl game coming up here in a few minutes. I was
yeah.
really impressed with him.
But I gotta say, like 2025 looks like it could be pretty good for Vanderbilt. I mean, I'm not. I'm wondering to see what's gonna happen for them. Although it's a good
Mm-hmm.
thing they're not putting Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech on Thursday night for Vanderbilt, because if they did, it would get pretty ugly real quick for the Commodores.
Yeah, Jackson, Vanderbilt's now a team that you have to take serious. Vanderbilt
Very.
football has to be taken serious. Like, Jackson, I hope you all learned your lesson and you aren't going to sleepwalk when you play Vandy this time.
Well, and the fact of the matter is, they still got Jerry Kill as a consultant on their staff. That's huge, right?
Mm-hmm. And SEC football asks a good question, Jackson. What's your definition of good for Vanderbilt, in your guys' opinion? 6-6, 7-5.
7-5, 8-4 for them.
And a nice bowl win every now and again. And a upset in the season.
Oh, I hope they upset LSU next year. That would be awesome.
Oh, Jackson, would you stop it? Like, LSU's not even on the screen and you're picking on them. Like, what's your deal with them?
Oh, I'm gonna get
Let
to
me
it
guess.
when we get to LSU Baylor. I will definitely get to why.
But Jackson, speaking of something, coaches that have earned some trust again, Mr. Sam Pittman, Jackson, ended out his campaign with a big time win over Texas Tech. Jackson, Sam Pittman building momentum for next year. What do you think about them Razorbacks?
Well, we heard a lot about, oh, well, the SEC could beat the worst team in the Big 12. Oh, well, Oklahoma State was the worst team in the Big 12. They beat Arkansas. They didn't win that many games afterwards, right? Well, Sam Pittman's a dead man walking, right? They lose Texas A&M yet again, but they upset the Tennessee Volunteers. That saves his rear right there. And had it not been for that Tennessee win, I mean, you said that the Liberty Bowl was the seat saver for Sam Pittman. It was that Tennessee upset on Saturday Night Football with Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and his puppy dog
Yes.
watching that game.
Yes. Yeah, if Arkansas doesn't beat Tennessee, Sam Pittman might not have a job right now. But the fact that he pulled it off really solidified it. But with this win, Jackson, he made sure to put the icing on the cake. There is no question that he will be the coach for next year.
Yeah. I mean, I just wonder what's going to happen. I wonder how long he's going to be at Arkansas, because I like Pittman. I really love
I
watching it,
do.
especially with his catchphrase, turn that damn jukebox up when they win a big one. Like, I love it when he goes, turn that damn jukebox on, and everybody's cheering. But this is not the days of the Frank Broyles era. That's long and gone. That's long gone for Fayetteville. That it's never coming back. But
No.
I feel like if Arkansas can have, say, an 8-win season, they would be good to go. But I think Pittman's going to have to watch his back around Bobby Petrino, because I think Bobby Petrino is wanting to go back to being a head coach again. Plus some unfinished business with that secretary, although she skipped town on a hot night. So.
Oh my gosh, Jackson! What is it with you and the secretaries, my man?
Oh, it's
Do
not
you
me.
want to
It's Bobby Petrino. He's the moron
like
that's
Jackson?
not thinking straight. He's not thinking about
Like
football.
Jackson, it's always you and the secretaries, man. Do you want to marry one? Is that the deal? I mean, do that on your own time, man. Like, not everything has to be about banging the secretary, for Christ's sakes. Oh my gosh. See, Jackson can't keep his mind out of the gutters, but
Don't worry, I dig at my own team. Oh no, I heard about his wife.
I did too. Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was. Uh, I
his
feel
wife.
for her.
Oh man, his wife's is having breast cancer. Lost his job again. I mean,
It's just, it's one thing after another for that poor guy. Like, Florida State Twitter broke him because now when people ask Kurt Herbstreit on interviews, does this team deserve to be in this? They were doing an interview with him the other day. Going a quick story here. I was watching one of the older ones where they were asking Kurt Herbstreit, "Do you think Alabama deserves a spot?" And Kurt Herbstreit was literally like, "I think everybody deserves a spot because I don't want no more death threats. I don't want no more of this. I don't want no more of that. Alabama, SMU, even Florida State deserves a spot in the playoffs." And I'm thinking, and he was kind of being sarcastic, but I was kind of like, they broke the poor guy, poor man. He can't even give his own opinion anymore.
I know, right? Right. And it's like, I do hope that Kirk Herbstreit will have some awesome days. We're praying for him.
Yes.
And I've given him a lot of crap over some of his takes, but it's like I'm holding off on that. But wait until football season. Like when it gets to 2025 season, where it gets to summer, then it's like, okay, we're back to fair game.
But Jackson, you want to know someone that deserves a lot of credit and has changed a lot of opinions, including you, good buddy, because I remember there was a time in the off season where you were not too sure about this man. But how about the Syracuse Orange Jackson and the DirecTV Holiday Bowl? Fran Brown getting a 10-win season at Syracuse.
Yeah, because I wanted to see it, because I looked at his record prior to, before he became the Nets head coach Syracuse. He was the number one recruiter named by 247 Sports. That's huge. And I asked, can he do the same thing with Syracuse? Can he make magic with them? Well, sure enough, he can. And I think, and when looking back at his resume, he was the assistant head coach for Matt Rule in 2017, 2018 at Baylor. He was a staff member under Matt Rule from 2013, 2016, but he was the defensive backs coach for Kirby Smart at Georgia 2022 and 2023. And I got to be upfront and honest though. Fran Brown, I think, is going to make some. I mean, the magic we saw from Syracuse in 2024. I don't like to throw the cart in before the horse usually, but I think he can pull this off at Syracuse. I'm not saying he's going to lead for an ACC title, but I think we could see some magical 9-10 win seasons from this man. I mean, Syracuse is going to
He
see
did it in.
an era not unlike any other since the Ernie Davis era, the Jim Brown era. I mean, I know they got the Donovan McNabb era where they were running the show for a little bit in the Big East in the late 90s. But I mean, Paul Pasqualoni was good. Dick McPherson was good in the 80s. Ben Schwartzwalder did pretty good in the 50s. And especially
Oh
when
my.
Syracuse got their only national title in all college football in 1959. I'm not saying Fran Brown's going to do that, but I mean, I think Fran Brown can get Syracuse to the playoffs. Watch. It can, and it will happen. I mean, the thing that was giving it away for me on what this man was doing for Syracuse was that victory over Georgia Tech week 2. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, this team's miserable against Stanford, right? But the overtime victory over UNLV, for those that didn't watch that game, I feel sorry for you because Syracuse made some magic in that one right there. And yeah, they lost Thursday night against Pitt. I mean, oh, UNLV doesn't convince you? Oh, fine. They knocked Miami out of the playoff race on rivalry week.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see that with Dino Babers. They were like quitting and blowing up in the month of November. They were like more depressing than Eeyore in his crappy little house where Eeyore's doing his best with his house.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson SEC football asked if Kyle McCord was, and he says returning down here was returning. I would have them there as a favorite to win the ACC. Am I crazy? No,
No.
I'm with you. If Kyle McCord came back, they would be in my top 3 to win the ACC behind Clemson and right now Louisville. I would have Clemson, Louisville, Syracuse, Miami, and and maybe Virginia Tech.
Well, I won't go too hard on Tennessee for your sake, SEC football, because I wasn't too happy when Tennessee scheduled Syracuse because it was like at the time it was like considered a patsy game, but it's like the Aflac kickoff game. I gotta get used to calling it that because I know it used to be called Chick-fil-A, but it's now the Aflac kickoff game between Syracuse, Tennessee. That's gonna be a good one. I mean, on the one hand, as a Bama fan, I should pull for Tennessee to win because Tennessee's on our schedule. But on the other hand, I cannot help but want to pull for Syracuse to win this one with Fran Brown. Because I mean, it's like this guy can get it done. He's going to get it done for Syracuse. And if Syracuse can have another top-notch season again in 2025, he's going to get a lot of calls. You think Oklahoma, like if things don't work out for Oklahoma with Brent Venables, if Sam Pittman's like, you know what, I'm retiring, I think LSU should consider getting Fran Brown. You want a winner? Fran Brown's your man.
Jackson, calm down, good buddy, calm down. Let's not get too hasty. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, my good buddy. Let's calm down.
Oh yeah, don't throw the cart in before the horse. In that case.
Yes, and Rough Rider returns to Syracuse to seem to hit a home run. Yes, and Jason O says shout out to Fran Brown. He's going to have the Qs at the top of the ACC consistently. Oh yes, I love what he's done. I was a believer in Fran Brown at the beginning of the year. I had Syracuse winning 8 games, and a lot of people thought that was nuts. They were like, Syracuse is going to win 8 games? You're nuts. I'm like, no, I'm not. Fran Brown's a really good coach. I like what he's done. And Jackson, what's the state of Washington State? Because in this game, half their roster opted out, and then Ben Arbuckle leaves them high and dry at the altar.
Their head coach, Jake Dickert, leaves for Wake Forest. Their defensive coordinator is long gone. So I got to give some props to Washington State for even giving Syracuse a game right here. That's huge.
And SEC football says Jeff Brom is the best coach in the ACC. I wouldn't give him that title yet. I appreciate the compliment, but I still think it's Dabo until proven otherwise. I think Dabo's still got the mantle. But speaking of coaches, Jackson,
Ooh.
what about Lincoln Riley pulling out some magic in Vegas, putting all his
Well,
chips in the table and winning them?
I don't think anybody in USC Nation was sitting there going, "Oh, Lincoln Riley in his third year at USC has them at 6-6, and they end the season with a Las Vegas Bowl victory." I don't think that was in the mindset of USC. I don't even think that was in the mindset of anybody for that matter. But Texas A&M, what's been going on with them? I mean, it's like, did they let themselves get all depressed over that overtime loss to Auburn? Like, seriously? My God.
Jackson?
They blew
Yeah,
it. They blew it. They still got those Jimbo Fisher guys over there. It's like, get those Jimbo people out. No smoking dope before the games.
Jackson, before you besmirch Texas A&M, I'm going to stick up for them because my guy, Mike Elko, a guy I love to death as a head coach. He's one of my favorites. In year one, Jackson, he had them playing for the right to go to the SEC title game. Don't you ever count out Mike Elko. I remember, Jackson, you were a big naysayer at the beginning of the year, and I even told you, I said, 9 wins year one, possibly competing for the SEC title. It's very much a possibility. And you were like,
Well, not so much a naysayer against Mike Elko, but a naysayer against Texas A&M because they always fall short. They have a history of falling short of expectations.
And Jackson hates Texas A&M, so do it. Jackson, would you say you hate A&M or you didn't like Jimbo?
I think after the way they were so hyped up and they let the Alabama win go to their head in 2021, and the fact that they don't beat LSU on the road in Baton Rouge, I always dislike the fact that A&M comes up short in the big moment in all college football. I don't hate Texas A&M personally. I like their tradition. I love Lassie the dog. I mean, I like the little dog they got. I love the little bands they got, but it's just it's more of an irritation I have with them. I always get irritated with teams that fall short of expectations. Like, that's just me. Not everybody's that way, but I get irritated with A&M. And USC, yeah, that was a great win, but this is not what they had in mind for 2024. It's just not. I mean, I got to be brutally honest. It's not.
Well, Jackson, I'll say this before we go to our next bowl game. Lincoln Riley, is he coaching his final season at USC next year if he doesn't get them to 9-10 wins?
No. Although, to be fair, yes, I got to throw Texas A&M in there again. They had a bunch of money. They had like a $70-something million buyout for Jimbo. Like, surely they're not going to fire him because of that buyout, right? Well, they did. They got that Texas money. Maybe USC, if USC has another season like this in 2025, in 2026, I'm sure they're going to ask Snoop Dogg, Will Ferrell, and a few other Hollywood celebrities for a loan. They're like, hey, can we borrow some money? We got to get rid of a problem. And that's Lincoln Riley. He's got to go.
Well, Jackson, here's what we can do to solve all the problems. Just call up Jeannie Buss. She owns the Lakers, right? She's got plenty of money. Be like, hey, Get Jeannie on the phone. Be like, hey, listen, you've got the Lakers, I guess, in good condition. Get rid of this coach for us, Jeannie. Like, can we borrow about $100 million?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a Los Angeles billionaire somewhere. Oh, yeah.
That's a good point, SEC football. Yeah, Jackson Snoop Dogg spends all his on that other stuff. You need who? Like I said, call up Jeannie Buss. She'll fix the problem. She
Oh,
she owns the Lakers. She knows how to handle this.
maybe they can get LeBron to spend some money on USC. Just be like, hey, we know you love Ohio State, but can you help us out here, buddy?
Yeah, you live in LA and you play for the Lakers. Help us out, and we won't ever say anything bad about you again.
I'm although 2025 looks a little bit easier for USC. I mean, not gonna get mad. Not gonna get mad about Ole Miss getting rid of their home and home with USC
Heel
because that
Jackson.
helps USC.
Heel Jackson. Ole Miss, USC will play again eventually. Heel.
Better. But
Halo over the head.
But the real question for USC will be because I mean they're going to have a tough slate from what it seems. Although they got 2 bye weeks coming in at perfect timing, one on week 6 and one on week 9. They'll have to go to Illinois for week 5, and they got Michigan coming over, and we're going to see if they can get revenge on October 11th, and then there's the famous Notre Dame USC rivalry on October 18th, and after the bye week, November 1st, they got to go to Nebraska. So that's going to be quite a stretch for USC.
Yeah, they've got an interesting schedule coming up. Which Jackson, I don't know who their starting quarterback is going to be since we took Miller Moss from them. They've got some things to work out over there.
Oof. I mean, well, they got Jaden Maiva, so we're going to see what he can do. Or we're going to see if they get Houston Longstreet. We don't know yet. I mean, that Dylan, yeah, their quarterback situation's a cluster.
And Jackson, let's head on over to the Music City, shall we? Play some tunes. With Missouri and Iowa in the 2024 Music City Bowl.
There you go.
Jackson, this was actually a more fun game than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. Missouri, Iowa was kind of fun to watch. I feel dirty saying that.
Well, I'll be honest. Like I've looked at Missouri's season this year.
Disappointing.
This doesn't feel like a 10-win season, in my opinion.
No, in a way, Jackson, it kind of feels disappointing because you think about it, they had a lot of hype coming into this year. I saw some betting sites say Missouri was one of the betting favorites to win the SEC. Not even kidding you. Like, I'm being serious, Jackson. Not even kidding you.
Well,
no, it was like,
and 6 of their 10 wins were 1 possession wins. That's bad right there.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Jackson. Here's the thing, Eli Drinkwitz, Jackson. The thing about him is he always does this. Like he did, like even Missouri fans even said, remember, because Jackson, the year prior, we were calling for his job, but then he beats Kansas State, and then goes on this magical run where he beats Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, and now everyone's kind of hush hush. And then they win this 10 games, and it's kind of like a disappointing 10 win, so to speak. Where it's kind of like, we won 10, but it don't feel like we won 10.
Oh, yeah.
And now everyone's like, Eli Drinkwitz, you can stay as long as you want. And it's kind of like, I'm just worried they might regress. and go back to 7-5, 8-4.
I mean, when most of your wins are one possession wins, it's not likely to be a good season next year. I mean, you're getting smacked off the face of the earth 41-10 by Texas A&M. You're getting shut out by Alabama. Not by a
Now they
national
didn't have
champion Alabama team, but an
with
Alabama
Jackson.
team that just looked meh.
Now to come to Missouri's fence, they didn't have their starting quarterback in that game. So we can let them off with a pass. Now the Texas A&M game, let them have it. They sucked that game.
Oh, they should have lost to Vandy. They got lucky against Vandy. They got
Oh,
lucky against
yes.
Boston College.
Yeah. But the Alabama game, I kind of give an excuse. Give them a little bit of a pass because it was like, they had multiple injuries on the O-line, and then Brady Cook was out. And it was kind of like, okay,
Did you
you're
give him a
walking into
pass
this
against
wounded.
Auburn? Did you give him a pass against Auburn?
No.
That's
They should have beaten Auburn.
I was
Or they
pulling
should have beaten Auburn.
Auburn should beat
Go
them.
for it.
I was like,
Go for it, Jack. Go for it.
I was actually pulling for Auburn for my IT guy's sake.
Jackson, Auburn was up in that game, I think, by 10 points at one point. Auburn should have won, but Auburn being incompetent. Oh, my gosh. Never pick Auburn to win a game. Big game. Sorry, IT guy.
Yeah. But, I mean, they lost to Cal. They blew it to Oklahoma. Blew it to Missouri. But on the bright side, they did beat Texas A&M in 4 overtimes.
Oh, my gosh. But, Jackson.
Let's put a bow on North Carolina. But first,
Jackson,
before we put a bow on North Carolina, what do we think about Iowa?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Iowa, Jackson, at least they have an offense now, right? But their defense has regressed. What the heck?
I mean, Tim
Can you
Lester.
not have...
Tim
Go
Lester
for it, go for it.
Than that stupid son of Kurt Ferentz.
Like Jackson, Iowa has a good offense now and can be competent, but their defense takes a big step back. They can't have both at the same time. They can't have their ice cream and cake together.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean Brian Ferentz. Like the only reason why he's not on that Iowa staff, so thank goodness for Iowa. So that's good. But Tim Lester, maybe he could cook up a little something for Iowa for 2025 and beyond.
Speaking of Jackson and cooking, is UConn, Jackson, reborn? Is UConn going to be a football school? Probably not.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, by the way, Jackson.
We'll wait and see.
By the way, Jackson, you caught this basketball game, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
this was a basketball game, right?
Jesus,
our eyes were deceiving us.
Oh,
this wasn't football.
I mean, this season should put a bow on this mixed bag of the 2024 season for North Carolina. Because, I mean, like week 1, they beat Minnesota. Minnesota missed field goal. Oh, North Carolina wins. Yeah, PJ Fleck needs to go. Week 4 happened. They lose 70-50. And I said then, and I think I said this on the final whistle with you, or I said it on After Dark. Prepare for the end of an era for Matt Brown at that time. They blew it against, they blew a 20-point lead against Duke when they were shutting them out. And,
yeah.
I mean, and it was like the way they didn't even let Matt Brown coach the bowl game. They didn't even have the decency to let him coach the bowl game.
Jackson, I feel like this game, Not to discredit UConn, because I'm really happy for them. They
Oh, yeah.
deserve something like this. Like UConn's been miserable in football, and that's being nice. But it almost seemed like North Carolina packed it in. Like, look, all right, boys, we got Bill Belichick coming in the building. Look, let's pack it in.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
save our best stuff for next year.
Well, I'll just say this. I'm curious to see how long Bill Belichick's going to stay at North Carolina. Because honestly, all that crap about, oh, he wants to be there a long time. Whatever. No, he's there so he can have his son be the next head coach. Nothing wrong with that. But I think honestly, he's just itching to go back to the NFL. You think NFL squads don't want to have Bill Belichick as their Nets head coach for 2026 or 2027? Nah, I'm just like I'm not too sure, especially when it gets to June 1st, 2025. The contract will be he only has to pay $1 million to leave. Like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people in the NFL that got a million. They're gonna be like, here you go, million. Now can we take them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Jason O says Bill Belichick is going to improve UNC right away. He's the best coach in the ACC. Not sure how long he stays, though. Yeah, I would agree with most of that sentiment. I mean, USC's defense can't get no worse with Belichick because Belichick is a brilliant defensive mind.
Oh man.
He's the reason for a lot of the Patriots dynasty. Like, to me, it's 50-50. I understand, we can have this argument all night, Brady or Belichick.
Brady.
To me, it's 50-50. They both did their share. They both needed each other.
Yeah, but for me, without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick didn't have a single playoff win without him. Right?
Jackson, I said we're not going to get into this. Oh my gosh. Oh, Jackson.
I'm just kind of like you fire Matt Brown because you want to go younger, but you're going Belichick. Which I mean, I got nothing wrong with Belichick. I like him. Matter of fact, I mean, he and Nick Saban
Mm-hmm.
were buddies, and they're still buddies. I mean, I'm just curious about what the college game day interview is going to be like. Are they going to have Nick Saban interviewing Belichick? Because I'm sure they will. But
Mm-hmm.
and I like what Jason had to say. I feel like his son would have been hired somewhere without this situation in North Carolina. He was on track to start getting interviews. I'm surprised they didn't
Yeah.
get any Cadwell from Liberty. But I mean, you want to get recruits and transfers somewhere. I mean, hey, I mean, they might as well play for Belichick. So I mean, good for North Carolina. Although I don't think it's automatically going to get them an ACC title.
I mean, Jackson, if they're just competent on offense and Belichick can turn the defense around and make them not in the top 50-ish range, North Carolina could win the ACC. As you know, Jackson, and we've talked about it, the ACC is not that daunting, and it showed here in bowl season. There was only two teams that won any bowl games, and we're about ready to get to one here in a minute, and
Well,
Syracuse.
Well, I will say though, I mean, North Carolina is going to have Clemson on their schedule. They got to go to Syracuse. I mean, like Syracuse is their toughest road game. Clemson is their toughest home game. Although,
Mm-hmm.
all right, like the rest schedule, it's. I mean, Duke. I gotta see if their magic
It's a
continues.
rivalry game. It's a battery for the victory bell. That could go either way.
Mm, I'm gonna wait and see.
Manny,
2025.
Manny Diaz, I like what he's doing at Duke. So I'll give that a 50-50 right now.
I'm just like how long is he gonna be at North Carolina? That is just that is the one that is scratching at me for North Carolina. How long is Bill Belichick gonna be there? What's the plan? What is the 10-year plan? Because I doubt he's the 10-year plan. He is the short-term plan, not the long-term plan.
I mean, we'll have to see, Jackson. I mean, we'll have to see. But I will say this, though, Jackson. Nebraska, Jackson, they found their plan. And it's listen to Matt Rule, because Matt Rule will bring you bowl victories. Jackson, Nebraska with their first bowl win since 2016. Matt Rule
Actually, since
is the
2015.
2015. I was a year off. I was a
That's
year
okay.
off since 2015. Even more better. But Jackson, Matt Rule is leading Nebraska in the right direction. You give Matt Rule the keys to your kingdom, and he will lead you to the promised land.
Yeah.
Jackson, I'll let you talk more about it because I know you love you some Nebraska.
Well, I love me some Matt Rule, as a matter of fact, because look at what he's done at Temple. First year was meh. Second year, he gets him to sits and sits. Third year, he gets Temple to the AAC title game in 2015. Then 2016, they win the AAC. Then he leaves to Baylor. 2017 was disastrous. He only has one staff member that has experience in the state of Texas for recruiting. But that didn't deter Matt Rule. Baylor goes 7-6 the second year. They win the Texas Bowl against Vandy. They get to the Big 12 title game in 2019. Yeah, they lose, but boom, they're all right. So, does it continue at Nebraska? Yes. 2023, they fell short of a bowl game. 2024, they ended the losing streak to Wisconsin in their own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, in Memorial Stadium, but I mean, can they do it in Camp Randall? Well, I mean, luckily, I don't think they got to worry about Nebraska 2025. Although that honestly feels weird to say. But other than that, can Nebraska have a 9-10 win season in 2025? I believe the schedule is much, much easier. The third year jump will happen with Matt Rule, in my opinion.
And Dylan Raiola, he's going to be coming back for his sophomore year. He's only going to get better. Nebraska's defense, that's going to only get better. Nebraska is looking good. I like where they're heading, and I think Matt Rule, give him the keys to the kingdom and the time. You got yourself a winner, Nebraska. Just be patient.
Exactly. They're gonna really go back to the good old days, honestly. Question is, can Nebraska be good enough to be a playoff team in 2025? I mean, that's gonna be the only question. I mean, well, the schedule looks pretty mid.
Jackson, let's not jump the shark here, good buddy. I know you're excited, but let's not do that just yet. Let's
Well, their
tamper
schedule is
expectation.
mid. I mean, is anybody really excited about Cincinnati or Scott Satterfield? No, they're a
But
disaster.
Jackson, what do we always say about schedules that don't look daunting? Upsets.
Yep.
So we can't overlook nobody because that's how they get you. We thought Rutgers would win 9 games, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want you to get your hopes up, good buddy.
Well, I think Nebraska can have a 9-10 win season, which, I mean, I think they can.
Oh boy. This is not no. Oh boy. Well, if
You
Nebraska
think
goes
it won't
6 and
happen? You think it won't happen in 2025?
here's the thing, Jackson. I'm trying to take your mentality, but I kind of don't want to jump the shark. I want to try to reel myself in because I want to be like Nebraska's going to win 9 as well. But the second we start saying anything, like I don't want to jinx anything. Like Nebraska's getting a good thing going
You're
again.
not jinxing anything. I'm telling you, man.
But here's the thing though, Jackson. Here's the thing though. It's Nebraska we're talking about. Like I want to wait and see. I'm on wait and see mode. And he says, And SEC football asks who has a better shot of making the playoffs, Nebraska or Louisville. Jackson, I'll let you answer since you're the unbiased party.
Right now, I gotta say Nebraska because I'm looking at Louisville's schedule. It may look a little bit easy, but I mean Louisville's road schedule for 2025 to me looks very daunting. Pittsburgh is where dreams go to die. You gotta go to Miami. You gotta go
The
to
volleyball.
SMU, and I don't know when they're gonna have Louisville, Virginia Tech. But if they put Louisville, Virginia Tech on Thursday night, that's gonna get ugly.
I'll say this. Nebraska plays in the Big Ten. We play in the ACC.
Yeah,
And this may.
Clemson's gunning for blood. Clemson's gunning for
Here's the
blood.
thing.
They're coming. They're coming to Louisville. It's scary.
Here's the thing. I'll say this. I think we have a better chance because I think the ACC is a little weaker than the Big Ten, and I think overall we might be a better team slightly. And that's not me trying to be unbiased here, trying to take my Louisville cap off. So
And the
I would say
non-conference
us.
and the non-conference schedule is crappier than Nebraska's.
Yes. Yeah. Our 2026 will be the year to really, really see what we're made of because we play Georgia, of all things. Oh, great. Good going. But anywho, I would say us for right now, but that could change. That could change.
Well, give us until July SEC football. We'll have a better answer for you by then, because then we got the Lindy's magazine, the Phil Steele magazine, and the way
Hmm.
too early top 25 reveals from Mark Rogers as well.
But I'll say Louisville. I'll say Louisville. And Rough Rider Return says, imagine the big if Nebraska and USC return to their glory days. Oh, boy.
Oh,
And Jason. And Jason O says Nebraska isn't going to resemble any good old day. Tom soon, no way. Well, Jackson, Jason O is not a component of Nebraska. He doesn't believe in them. What do you think about that?
I feel like he's got. I feel like you gotta watch more Matt Rule.
Mm-hmm. And SC football says TCU with a bounce back year. Yeah, they put a nice year together. What do you think, Jack? Sonny Dykes putting it together.
I gotta see more of TCU for 2025.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing, Jackson. They played Louisiana. I mean, not the most daunting opponent. I mean, we're not going to act like they're the 85 Bears here, but it's a nice win. I'd give them props. Nice props. And Lucas Hill is here. What's up? And he's like,
There he
y'all
goes
ready for
from
senior?
college football nightcap. How you doing tonight, man?
And it's real nightcap over here. My gosh, it's 2:09 in the morning where I'm at, and it's after 1 o'clock where Jack's at. We're up in the wee hours of the night. That's how much we love this stuff. We're and we're nuts. If you didn't know, Lucas, we're a little nuts, but that's
I'm
okay.
nuttier
We're
than
all nuts.
Austin is, but anyway, Boston College. We didn't talk enough about him, did we? How are we feeling about Bill
I mean,
O'Brien and where we go from there for him?
I like Bill O'Brien. I was a big component of him, but they kind of fell apart towards the end of the year. I I feel like Boston College could be that team in the ACC that sneaks up on you every now and then. I think they're going to be more of a smash mouth brand of football. They're going to hit you in the face, and they're going to see if you punch them back or not. I like where they're going. I think they'll be good. Get some Bill O'Brien recruits in. I
Yeah.
I like what we see.
Oh, there we go. Nice, Lucas. We'll be watching for that, man. We will definitely be watching.
Hmm. SEC football says when I think of Boston College, I think of Boston cream donuts. Well, hey,
Don't you dare tempt me. I have a sweet tooth, SEC football, so don't you dare tempt me.
hey, listen, donuts are good, especially in the morning when you first wake up. Oh, but this isn't the cooking channel. This isn't
No,
the cooking channel.
we're not
Like
kindergarten, sorry. But we can discuss
we're
SEC football, which
yes, we're not Guy Fieri here. I
well,
mean,
wait, I
Jackson,
like I like TCU, but I got to see a little more from them.
let me ask you something real quick, Jackson. Are you not? Because you were, you've said at one point in time you were not bought on Sonny Dykes. What is it about Sonny Dykes that you're not buying? Is it the 1 year he had, and those were Gary Patterson players? Or what is it you're not buying?
I
What is
want to
it
see
about
what he
Sonny?
does with his own recruits because I mean, I looked
Okay,
at his record at SMU. He didn't get him to conference titles at SMU. He obviously couldn't win at Cal, or didn't do a good enough job at winning at Cal. Which I mean, everybody's mediocre at Cal.
yeah,
Um,
that's true. That's true.
he had a humongous 10-win season at Louisiana Tech in his last year there.
Hmm.
But the WAC was depleted. I mean, it didn't have Boise State, it didn't have Hawaii, it didn't have Fresno State or Nevada. Everybody was all gone. I mean, that conference was just blah. Everybody was
I
leaving that
got you.
conference anyhow, and it's like I've got nothing against Sonny Dykes. I want to see him do well, actually, but I'm still not sold on any stock of Sonny Dykes. I wish him but the
That's
best,
fair.
but
That's
I want to
fair.
see more of what he can do.
I got you. You want to see him, kind of get his own recruiting class and just see where it goes after that. If he has
Yeah,
8, 9 win years, then you might be able to accept him more. Okay, this is about ready to tick me off right here.
go for it, man. Hey, you've heard me vent. It's the least I could do is let you vent.
Okay, so listen. Iowa State. Oh boy. Well, I'll let Jackson go on that one,
I'll
but
get
right
there.
now we'll get there. Jackson, don't worry. Jackson's not ducking anything. Bama's just way down on the list because they played the later bowls. But I've got some things to say to you, Cam Ward. I've got some things to say to you. Number one, listen, I understand you records. It's something that when you get a chance to break them, it's something that you want to do. And you want in history books and you want your name to be written in the lights of all the great quarterbacks that have come before you. Joe Burrow, Peyton Manning, Tim Tebow, Cam Newton, all those guys, Bo Nix, all those guys that are in the record books, Lamar Action Jackson, repping Louisville, baby. Had to throw the plug in there. Jalen Hurts. I can go on with all these illustrious quarterbacks. And you want your name to be in a record book, and that's fine. That is completely okay. That is fine. But for you to just walk out after you get the record at halftime, that is disgraceful and just wrong. To leave your brother on that field after you had done started it and you didn't want to finish it? Why? You wanted to be selfish and just wanted to get a record for yourself. You didn't care about your team. You didn't care about winning the game, obviously. You didn't care about none of that. Now, listen, if that was your choice, Cam Ward, you should be ashamed of yourself. That after a great season y'all had and just to leave him hanging like that, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I hope anybody that watches your scouting tape, I'll say it eventually, and they see that, I hope they question your character because that's something that just gets me angry. You don't leave your brother hanging. You just don't do that. That's wrong. You don't do
If he
that.
was gonna
And
do that, he should just been like, you know what? I'm not playing in this game. Like a week ahead
exactly.
of time, 2 weeks ahead of time. something. But don't just sit there and play in the first half and go, oh well, I'm not playing in the second half. Bye. I don't want to break a nail. I mean, that's not the kind of guy we want at the Tennessee Titans. And that's the number one pick. We're screwed.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I understand.
Because they'll walk out if the Chiefs are beating his butt.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I understand you want to be mentioned in lights with those quarterbacks and those names and those records. That's fine. I get that. I respect that. I would do the same thing. I would go for the record too. I think we all would.
Mm-hmm.
But I would finish the game. Win, lose, or draw, I would finish the game. Because I'm in it, let's finish it now. And if Cam Ward, if that was your decision, guess what? Then I've lost a lot of respect for you. But if it was the coaching staff that pulled you out, Mario Cristobal, listen here. I would be pulling you in my office bright and early in the morning asking you, what the hell were you thinking? Pardon my language. I'm so sorry. But that just ticks me off. Like, I would tell Mario Cristobal, listen, if this is the kind of culture, if this is the kind of man that you're going to teach them to be, I don't want you here at the University of Miami. You could pack your bags and you can get out of my office. You could go. I don't care what you've done. Go find your next job. I'll find a coach better than you. Get out of here.
Why do you think I'm pulling for? Why do you think I'm pulling for Notre Dame against Miami in the 2025 season opener?
And Jason O says, don't listen to these guys, Cam. I support your decision. F Miami. Listen. Like that's just like it's just something you do not do. And listen, I hope Cam Moore gets everything he wants out of life. As a person, don't got nothing wrong with him. But and SC football says F Miami. Okay. But Miami's not a very popular name. But I just don't like the way if he made that decision, I'm not. That's just not me. That's just not me. Like I said, if it was Mario Cristobal, then pack your bags, get out. You're not welcome at Miami anymore. Go.
No.
I've done enough though, Jackson. Go for it.
Well, you know,
before I get kicked off YouTube.
Well, we're not going to get kicked off. We're fine. We're fine. Anyway, 2024 for Miami. Yeah, they had a good season. I mean, they did better than a lot of people expected. And, you know, they had a lot of momentum after that Florida win. But they were always having a close win here and there. They got lucky against Virginia Tech. They got lucky against Cal. They got lucky against Louisville. But their luck ran out against Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
But they blew it. They blew their wad at going to the ACC title game by losing to Syracuse. That is just bad. And then they blow it yet again in the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Iowa State.
Mm-hmm. And listen, I know it. I know we may be ragging on Miami, and they deserve it after the decision making they've made, after decisions that they've made, and everything. But Jackson, I feel like we don't want to overshadow this, but I want to give Iowa State a little love because I don't want to make it seem like this is just about Miami and their stupid decision making. Because Jackson, Iowa State had an incredible year, their first 10-win season in program history.
11,
and
first 11-win season.
Well, you're stealing my thunder here, Jackson. You're stealing my thunder. I'm getting to that. I'm very cinematic with it. Their first 10-win regular season, they get to the Big 12 championship, and then they beat Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. What a way to cap off an incredible year for Mr. Matt Campbell. And Jackson, is the future looking bright or what in Ames, Iowa for the Cyclones?
Well, I'll say this though. They got a lot of hype, and it's well deserved. They're going to be entering 2025 with a lot of hype. Last time this happened was in 2021. Unfortunately, they went 7-6. Not saying that's going to happen in 2025, but we're going to see quite a lot in 2025. Week 0 against Kansas State in Ireland, and week 2 against Iowa in the Cyhawk Bowl. Personally, I want to see him beat Iowa a second straight year. Although I don't want to see him get irritating about being Iowa. I don't
Oh
want to see him too
gosh.
cringe. But
Mm.
2025 is going to be very interesting for Iowa State. I'm already looking forward to what kind of season they're going to have. The Arizona Bowl. Oh, there you go. Pop Tart.
And we almost forgot to pay respect to the Pop Tart Bowl. Got to play this just a couple minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
Jackson, we had to make sure he was spanking that ref. Make sure he was getting it in.
Well, the ref was acting bad, so he kind of had that coming.
But yes, the Arizona Bowl. No, Jackson. Let's not disrespect this game. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
Well, I mean, they didn't even respect it because it's like they put it on CW.
Oh gosh, the dreaded CW curse.
But I mean, Tom Brennerman did a pretty good job calling that game, I guess. But Miami, Ohio,
Listen,
Matt Colorado State off face the earth.
yeah, Jackson. I'm going to go on another rant here.
Go ahead.
Why in the world why does Snoop Dogg get a bowl? What did he do for college football?
You haven't watched a lot of Snoop Dogg on past interviews, have you?
No, I don't listen to Snoop Dogg.
Well, he's a USC
Someone,
man. He's a USC
so
man. He's like a humongous college football fan.
oh, is he? Well, my
Mhm.
bad, Snoop. I didn't recognize your game. My apologies.
It's all right. It happens.
Like, it's hard for me to listen to Snoop. He always seems high, so I kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
my apologies, Snoop. My apologies. I rescind what I said.
it's all right. It's all good.
Oh well.
But I mean, this wasn't exactly a good game. Sad. But the Military Bowl wasn't sad. East Carolina defeats North Carolina State.
Oh boy. Daryl says, "Does the NFL season start?" Oh boy. Yes, Daryl. Yes, the Chiefs. They start playing today. Yes, to answer your question. But I tell you what, though, Jackson. I tell you who would like to restart their season. NC State.
Yeah.
They got hit with the injury bug bad. They would love a do-over.
I know, right? It's like they were
Like
losing
Grace
2 guys left, right, and center.
and Grayson McCall was forced into early retirement. Oh my gosh.
That's so
But
wrong.
but ECU though, Jackson, really good win for them after they fired their head coach and was like, shoot, we don't want you anymore. And then they made a bowl game and it kind of righted the ship. And Jarrell says the NC State season was basically that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
after the Tennessee loss, they were kind of like, yep, our season's toast.
Well, they threw the baby out with the bathwater after that loss to Tennessee. They should just be like, "Oh, we got to play hard against Clemson."
Yeah,
But
they
they
didn't
didn't.
really care.
They should have.
But I will say this though, Jackson. NC State's running back Hollywood Smothers, he's going to be a breakout candidate going into 2025. I'm looking forward to watching him.
Can you believe that this
But
game between East Carolina and North Carolina State is going to be a rematch in week 1? That's going to be something.
mm-hmm.
And,
And Casey,
believe it or not, it's somewhat of a historic rivalry for both these schools.
I will say this though, Jackson. Their receiver Casey Concepcion, he entered the transfer portal, which we'll talk about when we do our transfer updates. He's going to be gone from this offense, so I'm really going to be curious to see what NC State's going to be cooking up on offense.
There we go. I mean, I really hope Dave Doreen can have a magical season at North Carolina State in 2025. But as for East Carolina with Mike Houston, well, he's gone. He's toast. But they got Blake Harrell taking over the town.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they went on a huge winning streak. I mean, like Blake Harrell, like after that 3-4 start, he's got him going 5-1. Like Blake Harrell's got him going 5-1 to end the season for East Carolina. That's huge for them. But I mean, like 2 games I keep thinking about from this underrated rivalry are 2008, where North Carolina State upset East Carolina, and then 2 years later, East Carolina getting revenge against Russell Wilson and North Carolina State.
I mean, those are interesting.
But yeah, it's definitely a good idea for us to do some more research on East Carolina and North Carolina State. Because, I mean, especially when it gets to week 1.
But speaking of research, Jackson, did Colorado do any research on BYU?
Obviously.
Because I'm kind of scratching my head. What was that, Colorado?
BYU, I got to tell you, the Cougars were mad as a cottonmouth after losing to Kansas, having their unbeaten season in, losing to Arizona State. I mean, they're like, hey, we're going to set some momentum. I mean, you talk about momentum for 2025. It's a good idea to talk about whether BYU has the momentum for 2025. Because, I mean, again, easy non-con schedule. And whenever the schedule's going to get announced, we're going to see BYU Colorado rematch. Don't know when, but we'll see once we see the schedule announcement come the week after next, we're going to see what's up with BYU. And I think Colorado, they were celebrating a little too much of Travis Hunter getting the Heisman. And I think, honestly, a few of the players were afraid to get hurt, which, I mean, I can't honestly blame them, because they had like some insurance set up. So it's like in case their draft stock ended or their draft stock went low, or if they got a lower pay grade because of it, they got some insurance on the bright side.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Jackson, this was kind of one of them. For BYU, they kind of look. BYU kind of was like, okay, we're sick and tired of hearing about Travis Hunter and Shedeur. Let's pop them in the mouth one good time. And yeah, that's a great analogy. Apollo Creed and Drago. Yeah, that's what this kind of what this was.
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah.
They were mad.
I'll say this, Jackson. The Big 12 is going to be a cluster muck next year. Like, I don't know who to pick as a winner for next year. I'm not going to at the moment.
I mean, I got to be honest. Like, this season, we thought it was going to be Oklahoma State, Utah, going to the Big 12 title. But guess who came out as surprise? BYU, Iowa State.
Arizona State.
Arizona State. How could I forget about Arizona State? That's a bad move right there. I mean, I thought Arizona State would be good enough to make a bowl game. I didn't think
They won the whole thing.
Exactly.
Arizona State won the whole conference
in their first year.
Texas Tech is probably going to be good again next year. The Big 12, The Big 12, Jackson, is a who's who. Iowa State, Texas Tech, the champs, of course, TCU, Baylor. They seem to got things on the rise. Who knows with that conference?
You know, one team we need to watch out for, and I know it's crazy to say now, but it may not seem so crazy come November or December. West
What's that?
Virginia.
Ooh.
Because well, now that Rich Rod is back in Morgantown, and you got Pat McAfee on the Pat McAfee show itself, just like running the show for the mount for the NIL session, you know that's going to be huge.
And Jason O has a hot take. He says, I could see Arizona State being picked up by another conference in the coming years. What do you think, Jackson?
Just don't take away BYU Utah from us. We just got it back, and I'm not going to lose it again.
Jackson sounds like one of them loves in the movies. Be like, I just got her back. I just got her back. Don't leave me. Be like, I got to do this myself, hon. And then the kiss goodbye.
I was thinking more like Marlin when he's rescuing Nemo, where he's just like, I lost you first time. I can't lose you again.
That works too. I don't know why we always have some movie reference when we do this, but I love it. That we're comparing college football to romance movies and fish movies.
He's more the romantic type. Me, I'm just like I throw in the cartoon references.
Jason O says Utah doesn't seem like they want to be in a conference with BYU. Oh boy, and you don't want Jackson to hear that. He will get upset. You will see Jackson get angry.
That's the fans speaking. Those are some of the fans speaking, but I don't want this rivalry going away. And if it does, I'm going to be mad. Anywho, Alabama, Michigan.
Okay, Jackson. So, Jackson, to SEC football's question earlier, can't wait till we get to Bama. I have some questions. Well, SEC football, ask away now because the time has come for Jackson to face the music. Jackson, the floor is yours, good buddy.
We didn't do a good enough job protecting our quarterback, and we sure as heck didn't do a good enough job utilizing our run game. Had we been protecting Jalen Milroe, had we utilized the run game, we would have beat Michigan. And had it not been for that punt return by Ryan Williams in the fourth quarter, this would have been a lot worse than 1913. If Michigan had a better quarterback game, this would have been worse than 19-13. We got off easy in a way. It could have been much worse for us. That was bad. We lost this one. We did this to ourselves. We didn't do a good enough job protecting our quarterback. We didn't do a good enough job utilizing our run game. I mean, that's what cost us. We were terrible. We were horrendous. We were a disaster. We were a disaster in all of college football in the ReliaQuest Bowl. This was a terrible, terrible, terrible game. This was terrible, horrible, no good, and very bad for the Crimson Tide. We can't have results like this in 2025.
Okay, Jackson, now tell them how you really feel.
I just did.
No, that's a joke, Jackson. To tell them how you really feel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It went over your... Yeah. But in all seriousness, though, Jackson, I want to say this about this game. Alabama should have won this game. Let's not even kid ourselves. Michigan had all them opt-outs, and you all couldn't score more than 20 points. Jackson, I'm not going to get overreaction or nothing, But what the heck were y'all doing out there that y'all couldn't score 20 points
We
against a
we look
depleted
like
Michigan team?
we look like we had a failure to communicate.
Like, Jackson, 20 points is all you needed, and you would have beaten Michigan. And you couldn't even do that.
Mm-hmm. But on the bright side, this may not sound like a bright side for Alabama, but we're likely going to be outside the top 10 in the preseason top 25. That's going to be the first time in a long while we've been outside the top 10. That means one thing. We can catch everybody under the radar in 2025.
That is true. That is true. But as for Michigan, though, Jackson, their fan base is pretty excited, coming off a big win over the national championship, the national champs, Ohio State, and then beating Alabama, and the fact beating two big teams in 1 year. Michigan's got a lot of hype. Bryce Underwood's coming to town. Sharon Moore's getting the offense fixed. I mean, Michigan's future's looking
I
good.
love how Michigan, the voice college football, has talked about how Ohio State is as soft as Charmin toilet paper.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh, boy. But I will say this, Jackson, for Alabama, if Kalen DeBoer doesn't win 10 games next year, what's going to be the mood in Bama
He's
Nation?
on a hot seat
If he,
in 2026.
that about sums it up.
Not by me. Not by me. But by a lot of the fans and by a lot of the alumni and the athletic director. Because when you come to Tuscaloosa, my friend, you got a lot of pressure. Like, everybody's mad at you for not having 6 national titles, which we've been spoiled. I won't lie. We've been spoiled by the Saban era. We were spoiled by the Bear Bryant era, which, I mean, yeah, I mean, not everybody can get their team 6 national titles. I mean, it's like it's like a wealthy person that's removed from reality. They think that everybody has had to yell at their assistant for not doing the dishes properly. Whereas, like, a lot of people that aren't wealthy, they don't have an assist. They don't have a pool boy doing their pool. They're cleaning their own house, you know? Exactly.
Right here, Jackson.
Yeah.
Jason O, you just won comment of the night. Not Jackson and Johnny and Jeffrey, but everybody else in Bama Nation needs to realize Nick Saban's not coming back through that door.
No. Well, and I was saying that a lot of the fans think that everybody can have a coach that will lead you to 6 national titles. That's not happening. Okay,
That's a rarity.
It's like a wealthy person that thinks everybody has had to yell at their maid or their cook once a day because they didn't sweep the chimneys correctly. Whereas, like, people that are in the real world, so to speak, they're having real issues are like, I'm just trying to get my bills paid. I'm trying to make sure I got enough money for groceries. I don't know what you're talking about. So that's what it's kind of like. It's like a wealthy person removed from out of touch with the real world. That's what's kind of like. I mean, maybe that analogy isn't the correct one. I mean, maybe I can find a better one.
Because I'll say this, Jackson. What you all have experienced in your all's lifetime, 6 national titles, that's something that's probably never ever going to be replicated again. That's something special.
Yeah.
And Nick Saban, by all accounts, is the GOAT of coaching, or one of the GOATs. But Kalen DeBoer is a great head coach.
Yes,
Look what he did at Washington. But he's got to be given the proper leeway by Bama Nation. They can't
exactly.
expect him to win 11 games and win the SC and win 6 natties like Saban did every year. They
No,
have to expect every now and then a 9-10 win season every now and again.
exactly. I mean, Caleb DeBoer, I think is going to do great. I mean, he was hired as a head coach when he was the offensive coordinator for Indiana. That's how good he is. We gotta let
Mm-hmm.
this man cook. That's all we gotta do, and we gotta get rid of some of the seniors that were throwing some of the players that were there like this year throwing hissy fits on the sidelines, Crawley flopping on the floor, doing that crap when we were playing against Vanderbilt. That crap is out. That crap's out. And as
Yeah.
prediction, 2025 is going to be really good. And I think the schedule looks a little bit easier for the Wolverines. But
Yes.
it's your time to shine, man, because the Louisville Cardinals are the second of only two teams to win a bowl game for the ACC against the Washington Huskies in the Sun Bowl. Take it away.
Oh, what'd you say, Jackson? I was just putting my backpack on for carrying the ACC. You know, it's what we do around here. Louisville, we carry the ACC. That's our job. But in all seriousness, though, I kid. But I'll say this: I was really happy with the performance that we gave in the Sun Bowl. Harrison Bailey, even though he transferred out, I wish the kid nothing but luck. He won Offensive Game MVP. I really liked him. I was like, you know what? This kid's got a little something to him. Like Braun was calling the game, he was getting into it. Like and our defense, Jackson, I really like what we saw. Like our defense, Jackson, I have a little confidence going into next year. You know, with no Quincy Riley, no Gelati, and a couple other players in the back end going. That was kind of my biggest concern. What I wanted to see out of this: how is our front seven and our corners and safeties going to hold up? And they held up pretty well for the most part. I was like, okay, there's some teachable moments in here, but that's one of them things as a coach you could work on that in the off season. I really liked what we showed. The offense, Harrison Bailey and company. Here's the thing: Isaac Brown, he's a true freshman, Jackson. Remember this name I'm going to tell you: Isaac Brown. He is a monster running back. He will be a game wrecker in a lot of games this year. If defenses don't have him scouted, look out. I'm telling you what, Jackson, I like what we got coming. Like Brahms putting this together, Milton Moss is coming. I think he's going to benefit in a run first offense and just a play action. I like what we got cooking here in the Ville, Jackson. I got to give you all
There
the
we
love
go.
and praise for telling me about Jeff Brom. When I was a little skeptical, you were like, listen, Austin, are you going to expect national titles at Louisville? No. But Jeff Brom will get you an ACC title eventually. And Jackson, the more as time goes by, you're looking like the smartest man on the planet with that.
I do my best. I mean, I think a lot of people will have that figured out. I mean, I'm not expecting an unbeaten season. I mean, that would be nice to see an unbeaten season for you, man. But ACC title, I think, will come for Jeff Brom. I think it's not a matter of if, but when. I hope to see that. I want to, and if they do play Miami in the ACC title game, I'm ready to see them just put Miami in their freaking place. I'm so ready
Mm-hmm.
to see. I want to see Louisville get revenge against Miami. I am so ready for that game.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, too, Jackson. Washington. I like what Jed Fish has got over there. They showed a lot of heart in this game because it was like 35-14 or 35-21 going to the fourth. They played their butts off. Like Washington, even though this isn't the 2023 Huskies, and they did take a big step down from what they were, they got a nice team little building over there, especially their big receiver Boston. He's good. I like him.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what Washington brings for 2025. I mean, it should be a lot better than where they had it. Although I'm wondering how long Jed Fish will stay at Washington. That's my only question for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for sure, but I think he's in it for the long haul.
Well, is he in it for the long haul, like for good, or is he going to be waiting for a bigger job, like say, if Florida was to somehow open up, or if he does well enough at Washington, like say gets on 10-win seasons, does he get the NFL when they come calling? Because he's had a lot of experience in the NFL. So that's going to be the question for the future. But the Illinois Fighting Illini having a great day against the South Carolina Gamecocks. I mean, win for the Big Ten. Am I right?
Here's the thing, Jackson. I know a lot of people have had their doubts about Brett Bielema, but Jackson, I think they were a little hasty to throw the baby out with the bathwater on him, because he had one bad year and he turns it around and wins 9+ games. Illinois is definitely going in the right direction. I think Brett Bielema is the guy, and I think people are starting to realize that now.
There you
And
go.
Jackson, how about Shane Beamer saving his job this year? Lenore Sellers and company putting it together. And Jackson, do my eyes deceive me? But South Carolina in the way too early top 10? Are we in the Steve Spurrier era?
It's a good question. And on the bright side, they're not in the BCS era anymore where it's like, we've got our quota for the SEC teams. They go in the top 10 in the regular season. They go 10-2. They're a playoff team. That's what I'm wondering about from South Carolina. Are they good enough to be a playoff team for 2025? I mean, the schedule's going to be tough. I mean, nothing worth having is easy. That's the line I go by. Nothing worth having is easy. And as for Illinois, can they continue the magic? Can they have a 10-win season in 2025? I mean, it looks pretty magical, but you know the game I'm looking forward to is week 4 between Illinois and Indiana. That's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see what the shows that what we'll see from Locked Out Illini from our buddy Sonny Verma, and on Illini cast from him as well. And I bet we could see Jeffrey on Talk Sports on Indiana to Voice College Football getting a little fun show with Sonny, or better yet, maybe he goes on Locked On Illini, Locked On Hoosiers, discussing his take on that game by that time.
And Rough Rider Returns says, I was glad when they hired Brett Bielema. I think a lot of Illini fans were, but after they had that season with Devin Witherspoon, who ended up going top 10 to the Seahawks, and then he had that down year afterwards, after the Chase Brown and Devin Witherspoon team, and he had the down year, a lot of Illini fans were like, this is not what we signed up for. But now he's starting to put it together. And I think they're going to be really happy. And Jackson?
Not very many, but the credit I got to give to is Illinois athletic director Josh Whitman. Because like when he made the decision to fire his head coach in March of 2016, they got Lovie Smith to take over. That looked like a good hire, right? Well, unfortunately, that was disappointing. So what do? They're going to try again. He gets a second shot. Not very many athletic directors are able to get a second shot. but he was. And he
Mm-mm.
got his man in Brett Bielema. And let me tell you something, Josh Whitman is
Mm-hmm.
a freaking genius athletic director. I feel like people are forgetting about him for a little bit. And I don't think he's not going to go unforgotten by me. He's not going to. I mean, when you got Illinois finishing in the top 25 in all of college football for the first time since 2007, that's huge. That's huge. And this is the third time in the 21st century that Illinois has finished in the top 25. The previous two times were 2001, where they went to the Sugar Bowl, and 2007, where they went to the Rose Bowl and upset the Ohio State Buckeyes. Although USC
Ja-
smacked all face good for the Rose Bowl, but it didn't matter. Illinois is in the Rose Bowl. That was the cool part right there.
Now, Jackson, I know you've got your pom poms out for Illinois, but I'm about ready to get my purple pom poms out because it's time. It's time, good buddy. You, Jackson, need to stop leaving LSU for dead because the
LSU?
second you do,
I can't hear you, Austin. LSU? I'm losing my hearing. LSU?
Jackson, you're going to know their name next year because
Oh, no.
Jackson, they're going to win the SEC, they're going to
Oh.
win the 12-team playoff, and Brian Kelly is going to win Coach of the Year. Don't you know this? Like, get with the game, Jackson. They beat Baylor in the Texas Bowl. I mean, Jackson, it's one of the biggest wins in program history. I mean, I can already see the preseason magazine, SEC champs of the future. No, but in all seriousness, though, in all seriousness, though, guys, that was my take on the media. Like, that's me being ESPN and Paul Feinbaum because I'm sure that's
Oh,
what they're doing
that
right about
Derek
now.
that Derek guy was calling up the Paul Feinbaum show when I was waiting Thursday afternoon. He was like, "LSU's gonna beat Clemson by double digits." I'll tell you this though, when I'm calling on the Feinbaum show again, I hope to have a word with Derek. Let him know how overrated his LSU team is because that dude's a freaking clown. He is such a clown. I mean, clown.
Jackson, how dare you call the soon to be 2025-2026 national champions clowns? This this team is generational, Jackson. This team's
National
going to be better than 2019.
national champions don't boast about beating up a depleted Purdue team in the Citrus Bowl. National champions don't brag about, don't let themselves get overhyped from barely beating a Wisconsin team that had a 7-win season by a few points, and national champions sure as heck do not lose 3 straight games in the regular season. They just don't. They don't let alone get beat by double digits. Yeah. You beat Ole Miss at home, and you're acting like Sean McDonough when Sean McDonough was calling your game. You acted like he was calling Joe Frazier hitting a game-winning home run for the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, come on, man. Like, really? Yeah, you beat Ole Miss. LSU, man. It's like the Brian Kelly era at LSU is much similar to Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. They're overhyped. They're overrated. They're never LSU is never going to get to the SEC. They're not.
Well, looks like the LSU disrespect will not be taken by the gods, Jackson.
Yep. Well, I'm back, but LSU is not going to win the SEC under Brian Kelly. They're not going to win a playoff game.
And there went Jackson again. Jackson, you better stop talking about LSU. They don't like
I
that
don't care.
disrespect.
I don't care.
But in all seriousness, though, continue on though, good buddy.
But yeah, LSU, man, they're not gonna have they're not gonna get done in 2025 yet again. I mean, their biggest non-conference win in the regular season is against UCLA. That's bad. That's bad. They couldn't beat UCLA in 2021. They couldn't beat Florida State in 2022. They blew it. They got smacked off the face of the earth. They got blasted to smithereens by Florida State in 2023. They lost a tight one to USC in 2024. What makes me think they're going to beat Clemson in 2025? Not saying it can't happen, but I don't like their chances.
Well, Jackson, let's be real here, Jackson. It don't matter what happened. It don't matter what happens, Jackson, in the non-con schedule. It's because they beat Ole Miss. That's all that matters. They beat Ole Miss. Like, don't you know, Jackson? They beat Ole Miss.
In Baton Rouge, yes. But I'm glad you talked about that because 2025, they're going to go to Ole Miss's backyard. And it's been a minute since they've beaten Ole Miss at Ole Miss. They couldn't get it done in 2023. I don't think they're going to get it done in 2025. LSU will get overhyped all over again. But we got to talk a little bit about the Baylor Bear necessities and Dave Aranda.
Well, I'll say this, Jackson. I mean, here's my thing with LSU real fast. Here's my take on it. I'll say this. What you're saying is mostly true. The media, I'm sure they'll start with the LSU is going to beat Alabama, Brian Kelly. I'm sure they'll start that soon. But like you said with Baylor, though, we're on them real fast. I mean, Dave Aranda Jackson was left all but dead after the miracle in Boulder, and then he puts a winning streak together, thus saving his season one more time.
Mm-hmm.
But can Dave Aranda finally put it together and get Baylor to the Big 12 championship? Can he put it together one more time? One time.
I'm curious to see what he's going to do against Auburn and SMU because, I mean, to start off 2025, that's not an easy stretch. But, I mean, I like that Baylor has two tough Power 4 games on their non-con. I mean, I like that. I mean, more teams in college football should strive to be more like Baylor on their non-con, okay? Like
Now, Jackson, if our good buddy Darrell was here, he would ask you, what's the purpose of them doing that?
I don't care.
Because Jackson, Darrell thinks everybody, like the Alabamas, Ohio State, should just schedule cupcakes and ride it out.
I mean, I'll watch them because I have to.
Well, you get paid to, so
exactly.
You have to sit through Alabama Mercer and Alabama Austin Peay. You have to.
Yeah, I might as well.
Me
I
on the
might
other,
see if I could do like a moronic TikTok dance over the Alabama cupcake game. That'll be like, oh well, here's my post game on TikTok.
here it is. Now shoot.
But I won't shake my butt on TikTok. I'm not gonna do that crap.
Now, Jackson. So you're telling me you're not going to shake that thing?
No, that's where I draw the line. I don't want everybody saying no. I'm not doing that. But I'll tell you,
Well, Jackson,
Duke Ole Miss at the Gator Bowl.
Oh gosh, I feel sorry for anybody that watched that. Golly, that was ugly.
I mean, Ole Miss, Mitt's bag. Honestly, it's a Mitt's bag for me.
Jackson, I could sum it up in 3 words: Ole Miss beat Duke, beat them down.
No,
Was all it did.
the way their season was. I mean,
Oh, well, they have a head coach, Jackson, who can't keep his thumbs off the Twitter page. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Lane Kiffman. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Someone needs to take your phone like you're a 5-year-old child.
I mean,
Like,
they
get off
beat
the Twitter
Georgia.
page.
They beat Georgia, yes.
Hold on, Jack. Hold on. Not to cut you off, but I got a little ranting session to do about Lane Kiffin real fast.
Okay.
I understand you got to brag on him, but let me bring him down first, and I'll let you bring him back up. Lane Kiffin, I understand you're upset, you're disappointed, like Alabama and South Carolina was, and you think beating Georgia and all them should have bought you a spot. And listen, most of the time it should have, but you didn't play in your conference championship. You didn't earn it like Boise and Arizona State did. Now there's no need for you just to tweet, this, that, and the other, and complain like nobody's business. You're not a 15-year-old girl that dated a man and then he left you. You're the head coach of a freaking fracking football team.
Mm-hmm.
That should motivate you. Okay, Jackson, now come in and say good things about him.
Oh, I can't, because I mean, they lost to a 4-win Kentucky team. They let the game against LSU slip away from their fingertips. Yeah, they smacked Arkansas, but they act like it was against Frank Broyles' Arkansas. Yeah, they upset Georgia, but they lose their shot at the playoffs by losing to the Florida Gators at the Swamp. Their hopes were dead and buried. But you know what they should have done to convince the committee that they should be in the playoffs, Austin?
What's that?
Run up the score on Mississippi State, have a 70-point game on them. But they didn't do that.
They couldn't, because Mississippi State was like, oh no, we're not going to go down without a fight.
Nope. They don't care about Ole Miss's playoff hopes. Nor
They
should
could
they.
care less.
As well as they shouldn't. But good grief. That was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they beat Duke. I mean, yippee.
Yippee, you want a cookie? You want a cookie?
But what about Duke? I mean, they've had a pretty good season in Manny Diaz's first year.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this, Jackson. 9 wins, Manny Diaz's first year. Whole big roster changeover. Turnover, or changeover, whichever you prefer. And then, a whole new coaching staff. Good on Duke for 9 wins. They took SMU down to the wire in overtime. Down to the end, excuse me. And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Disappointing the way they ended the season with getting smacked by Ole Miss, but Lane Kiffin was upset, so he took it out on Duke. But, good season for Duke, though. I'm really happy for him.
Agreed. Especially after Mike Elko left for Texas A&M. We are definitely curious to see if Manny Diaz can continue to magic, and so far, he's doing it. Oh, not just yet. We got 3 more to go. No worries. The Duke's Mayo Bowl between Minnesota and Virginia Tech. How about that Mayo bath for PJ Fleck?
Honestly, Jackson, I'm happy for PJ Fleck that he got it done. He got the W. He got a big bowl W, and he won the Mayo Bowl. Good for him. You beat a pitiful Virginia Tech team. Now shoot.
Well, what do we say about Minnesota's season? Because, it's like they did lose on a tight one to North Carolina. Things look pretty dire for PJ Fleck, it seemed. And, they lost, to Iowa. But apparently they made a comeback against Michigan. But their comeback was not enough at the Big House. And especially with 2024 Vice President candidate and Minnesota Governor Tim Kaine watching the game in person, getting there in person, watching that game. They were like, "Oh, we got the governor watching, coming over Big House. We got to look good." Didn't look good enough, but fortunately, it was enough momentum to continue against USC. And Weed 6 was a sloppy slate, which once again, that means one thing: upsets come. They upset the USC Trojans. They win a tight one against UCLA. They win a tight one. They smack Maryland. They win a tight one against Illinois. Lose a tight one to Rutgers. I mean, holy Toledo. That was. They lose a big one over there. They lose a tight one to Penn State due to Penn State making some tricky plays on special teams. And I got to say, that was the game that basically clinched a playoff spot for Penn State right there. But Minnesota gets that win over Wisconsin and the Paul Bunyan's act against Wisconsin. And for me, and now PJ Fleck is 4-4. Like Minnesota is now 4-4 against Wisconsin under PJ Fleck. And you got to remember, prior to that, they were on a losing streak from 2004 2017, from 2004 to PJ's first year. And now Minnesota, I mean, they're not in the Bernie Bierman Bowl, Bernie Bierman era. Sorry. This is what happens when you're up at 2 a.m. But, yeah. Virginia Tech, as for them, what were you thinking about their season? I mean,
they kind of blew it all in that Miami game, if you think about it, because they had that call not go their way, kind of broke their heart, and then they were very inconsistent, and then Syracuse came to not Syracuse,
yeah, they lost.
Syracuse. They lost Syracuse, but they played Pitt, I believe it was. Yeah, they played Pitt on a Thursday night and absolutely took them to chore. No. Yeah, I believe it was Pitt. It's either Pitt or Boston College.
Boston College.
Thank you, Jack. We'll get it right here in a minute. It was Boston College that they took to task.
Oh, yeah.
And it was kind of one of them. For both these teams, Jackson, the story of their seasons were inconsistencies. Is how I could best describe both of them.
Maybe they can have a better season because after all, 5 of the 7 losses for Virginia Tech were one possession games. So, I mean, maybe that's something.
This is true. But congratulations to PJ Fleck, though. He's still rolling the boat.
Now enjoy that mail. Texas State in the First Responder Bowl beating North Texas. Well, GJ King, we're curious to see what he's going to do for the future.
You beat Northern Texas. Shoot.
Yep. And then there's Buffalo Liberty. Liberty Beerberty, as Spaz called them.
Well, Jackson, Liberty stunk the joint up.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I mean, these are two kind of nonchalant, boring games. I mean, that's what happens when you get to the back end of bowl season. Okay, now we can do the good stuff here. It's not. Hold on, Jackson. Hold on. Before you get in position, let me promote you the right way, good buddy. Like my life depends on it. It's not boring. What will give you entertainment, enjoyment that all kids, cats, dogs, chickens, birds, husbands, wives, fathers can all enjoy and love and cherish and get great family value entertainment out of It's Alabama at the Voice of College Football and Alabama Crimson Live with Johnny and Jackson and the Alabama College shows every Thursday night. But I, on the other hand, can only do so much. Jackson's the one who has all the insider knowledge. Like, he's in tight with everybody. Like, Jackson's got the Bama sources out the wazoo. No wonder why he's at Alabama to voice college football. But Jackson could tell you more about this channel than I ever could. Jackson.
Well, as Austin stated, Monday at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Johnny Burtz and I discuss our take on the latest news and notes on the Alabama Crimson Tide, including this week's edition where we will be discussing the returning players for 2025 and much, much more on Alabama, especially some of the players that will be in the Senior Bowl. We're going to see our takes on those guys and a few of the Bama players that are in the NFL playoffs. We'll be talking a little bit about that as well. And we'll be looking at the 2025 recruiting class, see what's up, 2026 recruiting class, and much more. And Thursdays on 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Jeffrey Only Talk Sports and I take your calls on the Alabama Crimson Tide, where we discuss the latest news and notes with Alabama football with you, the caller. And of course, you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I'm 106 subs away from that magic number 500, and where I not only host Pets Analysis and the Final Whistle with Austin, and I also host the Buzzer Beater with Will ND, where we discuss latest news and notes on college basketball. And I host the Jacksonian. No worries. That bite debate episode from Locked On Patriots will be coming. And we will be sure to bring that Locked On Titans episode. We will make sure we've got it rescheduled because those guys have been dealing with some stuff off air, health wise, and with the weather being such a cluster, I mean, they've had to deal with that as well. But no worries. We've got episodes at the Jacksonian coming for you, all of you. And for more updates on the Jacksonian and on Alabama with the Voice of College Football and on more of my adventures, come on in to Jackson VOCFB on X/Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, Jackson Johnson 543-908. But if you don't feel like going on Twitter/X or on Instagram or even Threads, come on into Blue Sky, see what I got to say on Jackson Johnson 97, where I also give out my updates on there. Stay tuned for more. Austin, what do you have on your adventures this week?
So obviously, you can find me here with Jackson, of course. You can always find me with Jackson. I mean, me and Jackson are like Batman and Robin. Wherever there's trouble, me and Jackson find it. But you can find me here on Sports Talk with Austin 2002, where this week, me and Jackson are going to be doing a little something different. And you let us know as the viewers, subscribers of both of our channels if you like it, if you'd like it to be a regular thing we do during the off season. But we're going to do a transfer portal update where we take you through all the biggest transfers that have happened so far, some upcoming ones, find out who's in the portal, where we think they could go, talk about our teams. Me and Jackson are going to give in-depth analysis of portal things that have happened to Alabama and Louisville. So if you're more team-oriented and you want to hear more about our team specifically, we will definitely talk about them. And that'll be on Wednesday night, January 29th. This coming Wednesday will be the first edition of Transfer Portal Updates. And sometime later on, we will have a top 10 games of the year live stream coming out where we will be giving you our 10 best games of the entire college football season and a whole bunch of more stuff that we'll think of along the way. And of course, you can find me here on Twitter, where I talk a lot about the Dallas Cowboys. I talk a lot about wrestling. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff in the works and the plans. And we're looking forward to bringing it all to you. With all that being said, though, bowl season was fun, but the college football season is now over. But we never rest, though, because the work never stops. And college football news keeps on coming. But with that being said,
well,
we say
one thing
adios.
for sure, it's 209 days till the start of the 2025 college football season.
Oh, Lord. Jackson's the start of the countdown. Let's get to 100, then we'll start it.
How about 200?
200 it is. 200 it is. But until then, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video from me or Jackson or any of these great live streams and late night streams a lot of times because we're nuts. But with that, go Cards
and roll tide.